I could post a picture of a fucking unicorn black wall, and they're gonna say something, whether it's you're better than her or something negative towards me about her. It's like, but I'm the one. Like, I am a very defensive person. Like, I do it with my family, I do it with my friends, I do it on the internet. That is just me. Especially with that, I have way more stories to tell, way more things I haven't said. Like, it's like,
what's up?
And first of all, you talked about my kid. You think I'm ever gonna be done?
Yeah, I mean, like, I personally know what that.
And then people want to say, oh, you talked about her family, she talked about yours. I talked about grown adults.
No, to be fair, I talked about her. I mean, a child. I see what you're saying.
Hold up. Shout out to everybody in the building. I understand.
They can't even talk. I could post a picture of a fucking unicorn, and they're gonna say something, whether you're better than her or something negative towards me about her. It's like, but I'm the one. I'm a very defensive person. Like, I do it with my family, I do it with my friends, I do it on the internet. That is just me. Especially with that, I have way more stories to tell, way more things I haven't said. Like, it's like, and first of all, you talked about my kid. You think I'm ever gonna be done?
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. What's up?
And then people want to say, oh, you talked about her family, she talked about yours. I talked about grown adults.
We got Bad Betty talks about Alabama Barker, y'all. Her relationship with Levon, motherhood, and more.
I mean, a child. I see what you're saying. I see the comparison.
A child that wasn't even one yet?
Yeah.
What's up, Libra?
That can't even talk?
What's up, Miss T? What's up, Gray?
I could post a picture of a
unicorn
black wall, and they're going to say something, whether it's you're better than her or something negative towards me about her. It's like,
shout out to everybody in the building. Double tap that screen, get the likes up.
Like, I do it with my family, I do it with my friends, I do it on the internet. That is just me. Especially with that, I have way more stories to tell, way more things I haven't said.
Bad.
Like, it's like, and first of all, you talked about my kid. You think I'm ever gonna be done?
Yeah,
I mean, I
personally know what that.
And then people want to say, oh, you talked about her family, she talked about yours. I talked about grown adults.
No, to be fair, I
talked
about her mother.
I talked about adults.
I mean, a child. I see what you're saying. I see the comparison.
A child that wasn't even one yet?
Yeah, I understand.
That can't even talk? I could post a picture of a fucking
alright, let's move.
Unicorn.
Black wall. It's like
she's absolutely
pretty,
stunning.
yes, even when she takes off her makeup, she's pretty.
And that's one thing I cannot say. Like,
but that's what confuses me, is like,
she's beautiful.
Why does she, this girl is trying to cover up so many things, and she's trying to, like, within herself, it's like, and then she tries to find herself through other people. I think she just sits there and thinks, she looks at like when I think of it, I have like a very creative, imaginative mind, and I just see her in front of a wall with all these pictures of all these different girls, and like, oh, if I had this from them, and if I had this from them, but if I had this from them, and I'd be perfect. Like,
that's really sad though.
I was on ecstasy with Talon and some other friends. And,
shout out to everybody in the building. My bad, y'all. Double tap that screen.
And one of the boys I was with, he was like, you know, she tried to talk to me, and I almost went for it, and it's like
she's absolutely
she's pretty,
stunning.
yes, even
you know what I'm saying? There's more to it. Double tap that screen. What's up, Valerie?
What confuses me is like,
she's beautiful.
Why does she? This girl is trying to cover up so many things, and she's trying to, like, within herself, it's like, and then she tries to find herself through other people. I think she just sits there and thinks, she looks at like when I think of it, I have like a very creative, imaginative mind, and I just see her in front of a wall with all these pictures of all these different girls, and like, oh, if I had this from them, and if I had this from them, but if I had this from them, and I'd be perfect. Like,
that's really sad though.
I was I didn't know her age, and as soon as somebody told me her age, I was like creeped out. I like couldn't sit with myself for a second, like. And he was like, thank God I never did anything with her.
She going in on Alabama Barker.
The conversation just, I wasn't telling her business or anything, but like the conversation just got so deep, I started to cry about her. Because I was just like...
Said she started to cry about
it. It is. It's like, it's really sad.
Yeah.
And I just feel like...
Because it... Sorry, you make me cry. Because it hits deeper because you have a daughter.
Yeah, it's just like... Like, she's got to be looking for something.
Like, it's empty.
And
What's up,
part
Tifus?
of me almost wishes that she would have asked me for help rather than to think she was going to find it in the ways that she did. I didn't know her age. And as soon as somebody told me her age, I was like creeped out. I like couldn't sit with myself for a second. Like, I try to explain to people, like, you're just on the internet. You see me through a piece of glass and metal. You're not in my house. You're not around. You've probably never even met us.
Sound
before.
like a play, anything,
Like,
because they supposed to be cool.
We've never had nobody hang out with us and like ditch hanging out with us again. Like, everybody always wants to hang out with us again. Everyone wants to come to Danny LB's house. Everybody wants to be around us. Like, if we were like just trying to murder
Catch me outside. How about that?
each other and cheat on each other every 3 seconds, don't you think like people wouldn't want to be around us? Our own friends and family love us together and know we'll never leave each other, know how deep our relationship is. Why? They're fine with us being together. Why would I listen to you? But you, like, you know, I try to explain to people, like, you're just on the internet. You see me through a piece of
Lord,
glass
have
and
mercy.
metal. I am
makes you happy.
so happy that I didn't leave him because I would never find what I have with him in anybody
She
else.
go with these
And
tears.
it's gotten so much better. It's like
Girl,
a whole
stop.
different ball game. And it's like I always think about it.
Slap
like,
you, I'm just saying,
if I would've
dog.
left, I'd be missing out on this.
Y'all make sure
But then
y'all
it's
double
also,
tap
like, the
that screen,
opposite end of
subscribe to
things
the
could be,
channel
like,
if you new.
What happens if, you know, like, it's not even about you leaving him? What if it's the other way around? Like, it's just, I want you to be happy. I want you to feel
Crocodile
loved.
tears.
I want
Let's
your daughter
go.
to feel loved. I don't know what it's like to be a
Tifus,
mom.
what's wrong
I know what
with
it's like to be a woman, you know, but like I've never been in your shoes and I admire how strong you are. And I want like
People don't look at like Callie would be raised by a single mother.
Lord.
I would probably take me a long time to get in a new relationship. Like, I'd be distraught. Like,
I want, but
why
even
would
if you,
I go through
even
that?
if you,
I
it
am
makes
so
you happy.
I'm
Alright.
so happy. I don't believe in leaving somebody after they like a lot of girls. You cheat on them one time, they're gone. I've never been that type of girl, ever. I've never been that.
I don't even want you to say that. Like you don't need to say that to make yourself feel like any sort of justification as to why you're with Vaughn. You don't need to prove to nobody but yourself and Jesus Christ why you're with him. I am not Jesus. I have no room to judge you. And I want you to know it is not, I want you to be happy. I don't give a damn that you're with LeVon. I don't give a damn if you're with someone else. As long as you're happy and you're smiling. When I see you on social media, you have a smile on your face.
That's what I be not like understanding.
That's
Like, why
it.
don't people see that? Like, I'm
Libra
not, like,
baby, what's going on with this girl?
Like,
Double tap
twice
that
if you
screen,
need
y'all. Get the likes up.
You're not like
We 8 minutes
it's
in.
just,
It's the pregame.
It's like I feel like they just overdo it. Like, a lot of things they just do, but this is just one thing they overdo.
because it hits home.
I don't believe in leaving somebody after they like a lot of girls. You cheat on them one time, they're gone. I've
Okay,
never
we
been
already
that type
heard
of
that
girl.
part.
I went through so much with my mom. My mother has done unspeakable things to me. You know what people say? Even online. That's your mom. That's your mom. Why don't people say that's your man?
Lord.
Even tied with a child.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? People,
Like your mom could do unspeakable things and you have to tolerate it or forgive it
people
or get over it
always
because
say
it's your mom.
she should still respect her mother. She should still respect her mother. And people are gonna say, oh, because she gave birth to you. No, y'all say that about brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins. Y'all do that. Y'all say that. When it's family, it's okay. When I literally looked at her, I just like everything from that moment became about her. And a lot of people, even around me, will tell me like, you care about LeVon more than you care about Callie. And it's like,
Lord.
you couldn't even imagine. Like, when people tell me that, I get mad, yes, but I laugh almost because it's like, I went
Danielle
through
be tripping.
so much with my mom. My mother I would literally put LeVon in the trunk and put the car in the lake if it came to my baby.
Really?
Like, yes, like, it's just because, but like, like, just as much as I'm like motherly and all this stuff, I'm the same way with him. So it's like people see that and they almost think like, oh, you must put him first, but they don't see that it's like a whole, like, it's not like that at all. I would literally put Levon in the trunk and put the car in the lake if it came to my baby.
Really?
Like, yes, like, it's just because, but like, I'm like,
why would you even have to explain all this?
And all this stuff, I'm the same way with him. So it's like people see that and they almost think like, oh, you must put him first, but they don't see that it's like,
why would you even have
like,
to say all this?
I would literally put Levon in the
say a
trunk
narcissist.
and
Let's
put
go.
the car in the lake if it came to my baby.
Really?
Like, yes.
Crazy,
like,
huh?
Just because, but like,
Danielle Bergoli, catch me outside, girl. You know, she was basically talking about
picture of
Bad Baddie talks about Alabama Barker, her relationship with Levon, motherhood, and more. You know what I'm saying? So y'all most definitely, if you just got here, you're going to have to rewind it. But we most definitely played everything she had to say, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. If y'all didn't know, that boy Rod Wave, y'all, got arrested. You know, it says he had a $50K bond already made. Rod Wave is free. Rapper Rod Wave was arrested in Fulton County, Georgia, Tuesday on 14 charges, including ag assault involving the use of a firearm at his Atlanta area home, which cops say broke his previously granted bond. Yeah, man, they done got Rod Wave, man. He out here tripping. It say rapper Rod Wave was arrested in Fulton County, Georgia, Tuesday, 14 charges, including aggravated assault involving use of a firearm at his Atlanta area home, which cops say broke his previous granted bond, y'all. It also says, here's what went down. Rod Wave was visiting his place on April 21st with his realtors and other associates after it had been burglarized. Police say he and one of his associates got into a verbal argument as they were carrying out items from the residence, which is when a Glock 20 10mm semi-automatic pistol was pulled and fired, y'all. It says the street runner artist allegedly fired 14 rounds in total. 11 hit his associates' 2025 Mercedes G-Wagon. One struck his 2022 Rolls Royce. One round hit the wall of his residence, and the final round has not been located, according to law enforcement, y'all. Dang, Rod Wave. Once neighbors and police were alerted, police say Rod began cleaning up shell casings and even tried to flee the scene to prevent apprehension. The assault and subsequent actions by Rod broke his active bond order, which stemmed from an October 2020 battery incident, police say, man. You know what I'm saying? Consequently, a warrant for his arrest was executed with charges including possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, reckless conduct, criminal damage to property in the second degree, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, a felony count of tampering with evidence, simple assault, and conspiracy to commit a felony. He was arrested Tuesday with a grand total of 14 charges and was released the same day on $50,000 bond, y'all. Double tap that screen, get the likes up. It says the new charges included aggravated assault, a second count of possession of a firearm during the attempt to commit certain felonies, a second count of reckless conduct, pointing or aiming a gun or pistol at another, a second count of obstruction of law enforcement, a second count of criminal damage to property in the second degree, and a second felony count of tampering with evidence, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It says Wave's attorney, Drew Findling, and Marissa Goldberg tell TMZ there's no truth to these charges. Rob Green was a victim of burglary and committed no crimes. How he was even charged as a result of the situation is incomprehensible. This will obviously be resolved favorably to Mr. Green. This isn't the first time Rod has been in trouble with the law. He was booked in Florida in 2024 on 2 counts of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and was arrested by police in 2022 for allegedly choking his girlfriend. But the case was not prosecuted, y'all. So that's everything on Rod Wave right there, man. Make sure y'all double tap that screen. Most definitely get them likes up, man. We about to get to some stuff within the Diddy trial, man. Shout out to everybody out there. I hope all of y'all have been having a great day, man. We in the building, man. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't know, Meek Mill, most definitely it says Meek Mill speaks out on Diddy and his trial, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Basically, Meek had a lot to say regarding Diddy, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. What's up, KCL? You know what I'm saying? What's up, Purple Groovy? Michael Lynn? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in here. Make sure y'all double tapping that screen, man. Let's get into it, man. A little bit of what's going on in the Diddy case, man. No, I can't leave my guys out, man. Cartoon Network, day and night Cartoon Network most definitely done put out another funny clip. We gotta check it out, featuring Meek Mill, man. You know what I'm saying? Meek Mill, you know, on why he wore matching Gucci shirts with Diddy at one of his parties. Get the likes up.
Story time. I remember the day of Coachella when Puff called me up and asked me what I was wearing to the party. I told him I didn't know. That's when he offered to take me shopping at the Gucci store.
Meek Mill, what up, Daddy?
Yo, what up, Puff?
You know we got this party coming up tonight.
Lord.
What you wearing, Daddy?
I don't know, Puff. What you wearing?
I was thinking about going shopping, Betty. I want you to come with me.
Alright, cool, Puff. Let's get it.
Meet me at the Gucci store.
I'm on my way. Love,
Boy, that look just like me.
Me and Puff arrived at the Gucci store, right? We walked in and we seen his silk shirt hanging up by itself. And Puff was like, yeah, Meek, just the shirt right here, Daddy. I think we should wear this to the party. You want one? Now, I'm like, I don't want to wear the same thing Puff was wearing. But then he talked me into it because he said the niggas in the picture when we looking at us when we walked into the party. So I was like, yeah, Puff, I'll take one.
Y'all make sure y'all double tapping that screen. Subscribe if you new.
Daddy. You like it?
Yeah, this joint is it by air, Puff.
You want one, Daddy?
Nah, I'm cool, Puff.
You'll be the shit if we showed up wearing the same thing, Daddy.
I don't know, Puff.
I'm telling you, Meek. You show up with these shirts on, man, dressed together, man. I'm telling you, we're gonna have all the ladies and all the niggas looking at us, Meek. You trust me, Daddy?
All right, Puff, now, damn. I trust you.
All right, then, Daddy. Let's get to this party. Yeah, Meek. We both looking fly as hell with our matching silk Gucci shirts on, Daddy. We gonna be the flyest niggas at this party, man.
Yeah, the flies. Yeah, let's go.
The ladies and the niggas looking at us, man.
The ladies and the
all
niggas.
All eyes on us like we Tupac, you know what I mean?
Lord.
Unique. We gonna be the best dressed couple. I mean, niggas up in the
He
building,
said the best dressed couple. Let's go.
Toast it up with a shot of De Leon, Daddy. I wanna feel good stepping up in this party, you know what I'm saying?
That nigga said we gonna be the best dressed couple. They'll put him on that drink. Uh-oh.
When me and Puff arrived at the party, right, and our matching silk Gucci shirts was just like Puff said. As soon as we stepped out the joint, them niggas and the bitches was looking at it, you know what I mean?
I tell you, Meek, and I say we is gonna
Lord.
be the flies here, Daddy. And I smile it up for the camera. We even got little wee wee man here between us, you know what I'm saying?
Little wee wee man. Wow. They is off the chain, man. He said even little wee wee man. Hold up, we ain't done
Diddy
yet.
Combs has been
Hold
accused
on,
of
we ain't
assaulting
done
a
yet.
woman with
Hold
his
up. You know what I'm saying? All right, they also had another one from with Kid Cudi. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely took the stand the other day. Y'all remember that? You know what I'm saying? They went in once again. Double tap that screen, man. Get the likes up. You know what I'm saying? We most definitely in the building. Let's hear what this testimony had to say with Kid Cudi, guys. Let's go.
Kid Cudi testified Thursday that Sean Diddy Combs broke into his Hollywood home in 2011 after finding out he was dating Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura.
Yeah, so I dated Cassie around
Lord, look just like him.
It was briefly because I didn't know that she was still dealing with
Look
Diddy,
just like
but
him.
I had to find out the hard way.
R&B singer Cassie Ventura also admitted that she was dating rapper Kid Cudi briefly in 2011, but had to break it off because of her on and off relationship with Sean Diddy Tootsie Roll Combs.
Not Sean Diddy Tootsie
So
Roll.
me and Kid Cudi did briefly date in 2011, but
Look
I
at
had to
it.
pull it off because I was still on and off with Diddy around that time, and it got really, really toxic, and just things ended up getting really dangerous, not only for me but for Kid Cudi also.
Now here they go, trying to make me look like the bad guy again. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to touch a hair
Let's go.
on that man's pretty little head.
Not on his
All right,
pretty little
Daddy.
head, Diddy.
So all these allegations,
Y'all
that I
double tap
did
that
this,
screen. Get the
did
lights
that,
up.
that's just them trying to make me look like the bad guy. And Cassie, baby, you know damn well when it comes to being toxic, we both was toxic. And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know what you did, and I know what I did. So don't go around and try to act like you all innocent when it comes to being in a toxic relationship, because you know all about it.
Tootsie Roll Combs learned about Ventura
Tootsie Roll
and
Combs.
Kid Cudi's romantic involvement during one of his freakoffs.
Salute. Shout out to
where
everybody in the
Ventura
building.
alleges that Combs will make her engage in sexual activities with other men. Combs came across an email between Ventura and Kid Cudi's staff about a toiletry bag.
Y'all get these lights up.
When Sean first found out about
This supposed
me
to be
and
Cassie
Kid
right
Cudi,
here.
he went crazy. He started throwing stuff all over the room. He was cussing all over the place. He smacked me around a couple times. In fact, he actually squirted some baby oil on the back of his hand.
Lord said he smacked her around a couple of times and squirted baby oil on the back of his hand, man. Get the lights up.
And then smacked me as hard as he can across my face.
So yeah, one time
Boy, that's spot on. That look just like that Kid Cudi, man. Lord have mercy.
I took her to a West Hollywood hotel so I could get her away from Diddy, because at that point we didn't know what he was going to do. And while there, I got a call from Diddy's assistant, Capricorn Clark. She told me that Diddy and the affiliate were in my house, and he basically forced her to go with them.
Lord.
And then all of a sudden, I called Diddy up and I asked him, yo, why are you in my house? What are you doing in my house? And he said in these exact words, I want to talk to you. And Diddy hung up. So I drove back home to my house. And when I got there, he had locked my dog in the bathroom. And it was around Christmas time, so
Man, him and his dog.
he opened up all my family's Christmas gifts. It's crazy. That was just the first time. You know, opened up your family's Christmas gifts. Now they trying to say I'm the Grinch. Come on now, Daddy. You know damn well I wouldn't go in another man's house and open up his family's Christmas gifts, and it ain't even Christmas. Man.
Hey, y'all gotta get these likes up. Double tap that screen, y'all. Get the likes up or click the 3 dots, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you new, man.
Cudi, if you don't get out of here with that boy, you know what I'm saying, Daddy? Like I said before, man, all these crazy allegations, I don't know what they be talking about. That's all I know is they trying to set me up and I'm innocent. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't got nothing to do with no trafficking or no racketeering or anything like that. So why they even call this nigga to the stand? I don't know why.
I don't know either. Let's go.
Ms. Ventura continued to describe Diddy's irate behavior after finding out about her and Kid Cudi's, whose real name is Scott Muscuti's, relationship in 2011. And this is what she had to say.
I just remembered him kicking me really, really hard in my back. And as I hit the floor, he did his little two-step dance on my back. And then he ran over to get
Look how they did Cassie, Lord. Y'all double tap that screen. Get the likes up.
Between his fingers and lunging it at me. At that time, I was able to run off. And I called Scott using a burner phone. And I warned him of what Sean said. And this is exactly what Sean told me. He said, last time I locked his dog in a bathroom and I opened his family's Christmas gift, but this time I'm gonna blow up his car.
So I guess it was when me and Cassie had
There
went to
you go.
Connecticut. That must have sent Diddy over the edge. Because that's when I found out that someone set my Porsche on fire. And that's what he was threatening Cassie with 2 weeks prior. Saying that, you know, he opened up my family's Christmas gifts and locked my dog in the bathroom, and next he gonna blow up my car. So when me and Cassie left for Connecticut, we were gone for a couple weeks, and Diddy was calling her phone left and right.
This is
And
Kid
then
Cudi.
out of the blue, I get a
This
call
is Kid Cudi right here.
from my dog sitter. And
Y'all
my
click them 3 dots. Hit that thumbs up for your boy. Let's get the likes to 100, man.
dog sitter says that my push is on fire. So apparently someone cut the top of my push open and dropped a Molotov cocktail bomb in the top of my car. So whoever to drop a cot bomb in my car, it had to be Diddy. There's no one else that'll drop a cot bomb
Not a
in
cock
someone's
bomb.
car. Yeah, I mean, except someone who's
Nah.
enraged and jealous.
Man, why the hell would I be enraged and jealous of some one-hit wonder?
He say, why would I be in a rage behind a one-hit wonder, boy? Let's go, Pixar Diddy. Man, they is showing out.
Saying, Daddy, it wasn't me. I ain't got no cock bomb in your car. You know what I'm
ain't
saying?
got no cock bomb.
It wasn't me. Then what I look like cutting a cocktail in your car? I'm Daddy? A cocktail. Here we go with the lies again. Just trying to set me up. Like I said before, this ain't got nothing to do with no trafficking or no no racketeering case. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's going on out here. Like I told y'all before, I've never trafficked anything and I've never racketeered anything. Alright? This is your boy Pixar Diddy. Y'all mean Kathy, Kid Cudi, Punisher. Y'all mean all these other people out here putting out these allegations of me having a Tootsie Roll and all this extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? All of it, none of it can affect me. Because I'm brother love. I'm the embodiment of love. And like I told y'all before, I'm going to be out of here soon and right back on top. You know what I mean? I thought I told you that we won't stop. You know what I'm saying? Take that.
Take that.
And it's your boy Pixar Diddy. I'm out. Woo!
Lord have mercy, man. They need to cut it. Man, they is showing out, man. We need 25 more likes on that like button, man. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely that right there is a funny look, you know, at the inside of what's going on in the trial. But I most definitely got down to the gritty, y'all. You know, when it comes to this whole Diddy situation, y'all know that cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom, right? You know, they won't let us off in there. So they have made AI, like simulated inside the courtroom, you know, videos, man. And we're about to take a look, y'all, at the prosecution's opening statements from inside the courtroom. You know, as we've been sitting and watching this trial go, we know that there's certain things that they have to prove. And a lot of people are up to what's going on, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to that aspect of what exactly it is that they have to prove. So we're gonna go back, you know, to the beginning, man. You know, since there's no coverage going on right now of the trial, we're gonna go back to the prosecution's opening statements from inside the courtroom, man. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all double tapping that screen. Most definitely get them likes up, man. Get the likes up. Get the likes all the way up, man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna hear it from their mouths. You know what they have to say regarding this Diddy situation, man. Most definitely a fan of this, man. I hope y'all becomes fans of it. Yeah, because we got a lot to go over when it comes to inside the courtroom, man. This is everything news. Make sure, you know what I'm saying, you double tapping that screen and most definitely subscribing to the channel, man. A shout out to everybody in the building. Let's go. We need more likes, man. Get the likes up. Click the 3 dots. Hit that thumbs up for your boy if you don't mind. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're going inside the courtroom, guys.
I know this will be a long road, but I want to emphasize that you have a tremendously important task as jurors. It is to determine the facts. You, and not the court, are the sole judges of the facts. The Constitution itself recognizes
they got these people looking just like these folks. We inside the courtroom, man.
Unique role in our system of justice. So please, pay careful attention to the witnesses and evidence received at trial, as well as my instructions on the law. I thank you for your commitment to performing this civic duty and recognize the sacrifices that you have all made to be here today. We will now begin with opening statements. Is the government prepared to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
This is Sean Combs. To the public,
look at that boy Diddy.
Or Diddy, a cultural icon, a businessman larger than life. But there was another side to him, a side that ran a criminal enterprise. During this trial, you're going to hear about 20 years of the defendant's crimes. But he didn't do it alone. He had an inner circle of bodyguards and high-ranking employees who helped him commit crimes and helped him cover them up. Kidnapping, arson, drugs, sex crimes, bribery,
man, this is crazy, y'all.
These are just some of the crimes that the defendant and his inner circle committed again and again. You are going to hear about all of them during this trial. Let's start now with just one night. The defendant was on the hunt for his girlfriend, a woman named Cassie. For years, the defendant physically abused Cassie. He also sexually exploited her, forcing her to have sex with male escorts while he watched and recorded.
Y'all make sure y'all double tapping that screen, man. Click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. We inside the courtroom watching the Diddy trial, man. Get the likes up.
But that night, the defendant learned he had lost control of Cassie. He found out Cassie was seeing another man. Furious, he set out to find Cassie and that other man, but he couldn't do it by himself. So he took his gun and he took his bodyguard, one of his most loyal lieutenants, to wake up one of the defendant's employees in the middle of the night. The defendant yelled that he was going to kill the man Cassie was with. He demanded that his employee take him to that man's home. The defendant forced the employee out of her apartment.
Now, let me tell y'all this. This is based off the transcripts of everything that was really said in court, man. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't stray, you know, from the truth. This is everything they said in court. This is the opening statements from the prosecution.
Into an SUV. They drove to the house. The defendant and his bodyguard broke in, but no one was there. The defendant did give up. He kept looking for Cassie. When he finally found her, he did what he had done countless times before. He beat her brutally, kicking her in the back and flinging her around like a rag doll. All of that violence wasn't enough, though. The defendant had to make sure he had control over Cassie once again, so he threatened her. The defendant told Cassie that if she defied him again, he would publicly release the videos of her having sex with male escorts that he kept as blackmail. Souvenirs of the most humiliating nights of her life. This was just one night in the 2 decades of crime. In one
now,
night.
y'all make sure y'all listening to what they saying that they're gonna be able to prove. Cause thus far, they haven't proved anything but domestic violence.
He and his lieutenant,
which is not any of the charges they brought him up on.
Kidnapped an employee, broke into a man's house, and the defendant beat and blackmailed his girlfriend. And as you will learn, this was just the tip of the iceberg. These are not the only crimes the defendant committed. That's not the only time he kidnapped someone, and Cassie is not the only woman he beat or sexually exploited. For 20 years, the defendant, with the help of his trusted inner circle, committed crime after crime. That's why we're here today. That's what this case is about. 20 years of crime is a lot to cover. So first,
hey, everybody take a moment to subscribe to the channel and click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, get the likes up, guys. We inside the courtroom, man. Ain't nobody else bringing you this coverage. You might as well double tap that screen, man. Get the likes up.
I'll walk you through
Let's
what
go,
evidence
Gina.
in this case will show. Then I will explain a little bit about the charges, and then I will tell you how the government will prove that the defendant is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So what will the evidence show? You'll learn that the defendant was a musician who created an empire. He had a record label, Bad Boy Records, and other businesses that he ran or controlled. Those businesses made the defendant rich, and he used money and resources from those companies to build his reputation and to feed his every desire. To do that, he relied on an inner circle of people closest to him, like his bodyguards, chief of staff, and other high-ranking employees who ran all aspects of his life. Together, the group worked to promote the defendant's power. They carefully cultivated and guarded his reputation. And they worked to get the defendant everything he wanted. He sometimes called himself the king, and he expected to be treated like one. He expected his inner circle to cater to his every desire, including his sexual...
They said Diddy expected for his inner circle to cater to his every desire, y'all. Anything he wanted to do, they most definitely had to do, man. They say, bro, Justin B had a hidden song out about he was I hear you.
Desires. For years, the defendant used his inner circle and his company's resources to sexually exploit multiple women, including women he forced and manipulated into having sex with male escorts, meaning men who the defendant paid to have sex with women while he watched. No matter what, the defendant and his inner circle...
Why he choked his Tootsie Roll. You know what I'm saying? Don't leave. Why he choked his Tootsie Roll.
Made sure he got everything he wanted. Many times that involved committing crimes together and then covering up those crimes. Those crimes included violent acts, like when the defendant brought his bodyguard and his gun to kidnap the employee I mentioned earlier. But you'll hear about the other violence too, like when the defendant's bodyguards kidnapped the same employee another time.
All right, so they saying Diddy he took some employees, man. They gotta prove that. I ain't seen it yet.
Forcing her to sit through days of lie detector tests, or when the defendant had a man's car set on fire, or when the defendant dangled a woman over a balcony. You'll see and hear evidence.
Or when the man, hey, Diddy done dangled her over the balcony, one of Cassie's friends.
The defendant had impossible demands. When his employees failed to meet those demands, the defendant threw things at them, threatened them, hit them, or pressured them to take drugs. He even sexually assaulted one of them. You'll also hear how the defendant used his employees to get and distribute drugs. They delivered those drugs whenever the defendant asked, including so he could give those same drugs to the women he was forcing to have sex with male escorts. He transported those women and those escorts across state lines and even out of the country for those sex acts. And he used his inner circle and the vast resources of his business empire to help arrange those trips and make the women available to him. Let me be very clear on this next point. This case is not about a celebrity's private sexual preferences. The evidence will show that the sexual conduct at issue in this case
That's all we've been seeing. That's all we've been seeing though. Was his preferences and his temper, his violence. So how can they say it's not about that? And they putting all of his dirty laundry out, y'all. I'm just saying, let me know in the comments. How can it not be about his ex-life, you know, if that's all they displaying, plus violence? I'm just saying.
Coercive and criminal, because the defendant made women have sex when they did not want to, because he threatened them, he drugged help, he lied to them, and he even used violence to make them do it. A lot of this trial will focus on just two of those women. Cassie, who I talked about earlier.
So Cassie, You know, it's one of the women he was supposed to be forcing against his her will. And then you got the woman that he used to be married to, Gina. But they can't find Gina. So Gina ain't gonna be a test. She's not gonna be one of the people to testify. But those are the two that they banking on is Cassie and Gina, you know, when it comes to force. But the Gina girl says she ain't coming. We don't care for they talking about we don't care free Diddy, Lord.
And Jane. Some of the details of what happened to Cassie and Jane may be hard to hear, but this is what the evidence was.
Jane is Gina.
The defendant used lies, drugs, threats, and violence to force and coerce first Cassie and later Jane to have sex with him in front of male escorts. The defendant insisted that the sex occur in a very specific, highly orchestrated way. These sexual performances lasted multiple days and involved multiple escorts. The defendant called these encounters by different names over the years. First, freakoffs, later wild king nights or hotel nights. Week after week, the defendant...
If you are in the building, man, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, man. Click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, keep the likes going, you know, to everybody typing. Or I'm going to turn it on subscriber only mode.
Directed freakoffs in hotels across the country and sometimes out of the country. At times, the defendant had escorts and the women travel from out of state, so the defendant's staff sometimes organized flights, cars, and hotels. The defendant's businesses paid those expenses. The defendant had particular demands for freakoffs. At his direction, the defendant's staff set up the room in advance with supplies, like his preferred lighting, extra linens, and lubricant. His staff remained on call to refresh any...
Lucho said Diddy made black men look bad. Diddy is hellhound. Okay, yeah. Ex parties are not illegal. Says done. Okay, all right. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? They most definitely got it going. Diddy has a lot of bodies he paid for, and it's gonna come out. Okay.
The defendant needed, like cash to pay the escorts or drugs for the women and the defendant. The hotel rooms were dark. The defendant instructed Cassie and Jane how to look, to dress in lingerie, wear tall platform high heels, and have manicured white nails. The defendant selected drugs for Cassie and
Y'all
Jane.
hear him? They say Diddy had a dress code for the ladies at the freakoffs.
And Jane how to look, to dress in lingerie, wear tall platform high heels, and have manicured white nails. The defendant selected drugs for Cassie and Jane to take, usually MDMA, also known as Molly or ecstasy. Sometimes those drugs made Cassie and Jane sick, but they also made the woman more uninhibited and sexually aroused. The defendant fed Cassie and Jane drugs throughout the freak-off so they could stay awake and perform for him for hours and days at a time.
He say he fed them the narcotics so they could stay awake for hours and even days for him to do them freak-offs, y'all. Lord have mercy. But due to the testimony we've been hearing, you know, in the text messages, Cassie, if anybody, she was asking him for the narcotics. So I don't know, man. She was asking him to provide them. Make sure this is the prosecution. Make sure y'all listen to what they say they gonna prove and ask yourself, have they proved those points thus far?
Escort arrived, the defendant dictated every step of the sexual activity that followed. Sexual activity that followed the same pattern. And he expected the women to enjoy themselves, to appear to, while they did it. The defendant masturbated throughout the freak-offs and often video recorded part of them. Now I want to tell you more about Cassie and about Jane. Cassie was a 19-year-old model, an aspiring singer with a hit song when she met the defendant in 2006. The defendant was 17 years older than her and the head of a record label. Soon, Cassie was signed to a 10-album deal with the label. The defendant pursued Cassie, and within a year, they were dating. They stayed together on and off until about 2018. During
Man Up says he groomed Cassie. Okay. Jerk off is not illegal. Boy, Dunn down there going hard.
that time, Cassie tried to work on her music and in modeling and acting. But the defendant made her turn down many opportunities. Instead, he paid for Cassie's cars.
We got Diane. Diane says Diddy belongs in prison for life. El Salvador. Anyone else involved needs to go to prison too. I don't care even if they are celebrities. Let's go.
And some of her day-to-day expenses. Although Cassie recorded music constantly, the defendant, the head of her record label, had final say on the music that she released. It was never another album. The defendant started abusing Cassie early on. Initially, Cassie fought back, but time and again,
We got over 100 of y'all that ain't hit that like button, man. Click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. We watching the prosecutors' opening statements within the Diddy trial, man. You know what I'm saying? Double tap that screen, y'all, or click those 3 dots and hit that thumbs up. Keep those likes moving, and most definitely subscribe to the channel if you're new.
And it hit Cassie in the head, threw her to the ground and kicked her, and dragged her by the hair. In 2009, the defendant threw Cassie to the floor of an SUV and stomped repeatedly on her face. To hide her injuries, the defendant forced Cassie to stay in a hotel for the next week. He refused to let her leave.
Boy, they got these people looking just like themselves. This Mark Filio right here. You know what I'm saying? Diddy's other attorney. The one we be seeing on TV, on TMZ, you know, and doing them interviews, man. They going in. Man, double tap that screen. Most definitely get them likes up.
And had a staff check on her to make sure she stayed put. The defendant also introduced Cassie to freakoffs early on. Soon the defendant made it Cassie's job to find and book escorts for freakoffs. Freakoffs that were happening as often as once a week for days at a time, meaning that for almost half of every week, Cassie was in a dark hotel room, high and awake for days, performing sex acts that she did not want to do on male escorts. Cassie will tell you how she felt like she was choking when the defendant made an escort urinate in her mouth, and how she overdosed at a freak-off when she still had an open wound on her face from the defendant's most recent assault. The defendant's physical attacks on Cassie happened at the freak-offs too. As you will see on video during this trial, the defendant hit and kicked Cassie in the hallway of an LA hotel, trying to drag her back to the room where they had been with an escort. We'll talk more about that video later.
What that got to do with racketeering, guys? That's the domestic violence I was talking about. What does that have to do with the racketeering?
Cassie tried the first freak-off because she loved the defendant and wanted to make him happy. After that, she knew it was not something she wanted to do, but because of the defendant, it became almost everything she did. Because if Cassie didn't do what the defendant wanted, the consequences were severe. Physically, the defendant beat her viciously, exploding over even the tiniest slight and beating her to show who was in charge. He beat her when she didn't answer the phone when he called. He beat her when she left a freak-off without his permission. He beat her when he thought she took too long in the bathroom. The defendant taught Cassie that to find him could and often would end in violence. And when she tried to run away, he always found her, often with the help of his inner circle. And Cassie's career and livelihood were—
That look just like Diddy, don't it, man? You know what I'm saying? That look just like Diddy, man. Y'all get the likes up, man, so I don't have to keep on pausing the video and saying double tap the screen. Click those 3 dots, subscribe to the channel if you're new, man, and make sure you're paying attention to what the prosecution is looking to execute in this trial, guys. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Make sure y'all subscribing and hitting that like button.
Were also in the defendant's hands, something the defendant made clear to Cassie. He told her he could destroy her career by releasing the videos that he recorded of her performing sex acts on dozens and dozens of male escorts. So Cassie knew that failing to please the defendant, refusing his demands, had more than just physical consequences. It had the power to ruin her life. The defendant's control, the defendant's violence, and the defendant's threats. That is how the defendant ensured Cassie.
Hey, clicking the view, it got us inside the courtroom, man. You know what I'm saying? These are based off of the transcripts that of everything that was actually spoken in court, man. You know what I'm saying? So these are most definitely the facts. They based off the transcripts from the courtroom.
Could not say no to him. So time and again, when the defendant suggested to Cassie that they have a freak-off, she knew she had no choice but to agree and went to work setting one up. She texted the escorts, arranged for them to come to hotels, and put on the performance the defendant wanted. Her livelihood and her safety depended on keeping him happy. Cassie's relationship with the defendant was complicated. You will hear during this trial that both Cassie and the defendant were unfaithful, jealous, and at times angry. But
yeah, both of them was. They was most definitely unfaithful.
Only one of them had power. Only one had control, and that was the defendant. And with that power and with that control, he made Cassie do his bidding in those dark hotel rooms. You'll learn.
Diddy look like somebody pow Diddy, man. You know what I'm saying? Pow Diddy. Don't look at all that gray hair on his face, boy. He's showing his age off inside that courtroom, man. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Pow Diddy. You know what I'm saying?
No, that Cassie was not the only woman the defendant did this to. This was a part of a pattern. Now I want to tell you about Jane. Jane was a single mom who started spending time with the defendant in 2020. The defendant pursued and romanced Jane, who fell in love with him quickly. Jane was not seeing other men, but the defendant was seeing other women at the time, so his relationship with Jane was not at all public. For the first few months, their sex life was just the two of them, and Jane was happy. That was until the defendant introduced Jane to freakoffs. One night, when they had already taken drugs and been having
the infamous freakoffs
for hours, the defendant told Jane about freakoffs. Jane agreed to try one to make the defendant happy. To her surprise, the defendant said he would make it happen immediately, that very same night. He took her to a hotel where a room was already set up and an escort was on the way.
Hey, y'all, let's double tap that screen and click those 3 dots. Hit that thumbs up. Over 100 people haven't hit the like, man. Or subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're inside the courtroom, listening to the prosecution's opening statements.
Jane was nervous and the defendant directed her step by step. Jane thought the first freak-off was a one-time wild night. Jane was wrong. The defendant continued asking Jane to have freak-offs and promising that if she did, they would spend quality time together. They would go on dates together. They would go on trips. That was what Jane wanted more than anything, a real relationship. So she agreed. She helped plan freak-offs and reach out to escorts. But even though the defendant promised her quality time and trips, he never delivered. Those were just lies he told her to get more nights in dark hotel rooms with escorts. Jane will tell you about those nights in detail, how she wanted the escorts to wear condoms, but many times
it's crazy, y'all.
The defendant did not let them. And Jane will tell you how he had her take drugs to stay awake and aroused for days. Jane tried twice to make it through these nights without drugs. The first time she broke down and had took ecstasy.
Serious face Diddy. Let's go. Pow Diddy right there, man. Lord, how he has aged, man. Double tap that screen, y'all. I would hate to put it on subscriber only where some of y'all won't type. If y'all not subscribed, it's going to be for 5 minutes. So you might as well subscribe right now. Or double tap that screen and get the likes up.
To finish performing for the defendant. The second time, Jane vomited after having sex with one escort. How did the defendant respond? He told her to hurry up and get back into the room where another escort was waiting. Early on, Jane told the defendant that she didn't like freak-offs and she just wanted to be alone with him. She loved him desperately and wanted a real relationship with him. The defendant did not listen. Feeling stuck and sick of the strangers the defendant kept bringing to these hotel rooms, Jane tried to assert herself in small ways. She found 2 men who performed in pornography, and she invited them to join the freak-offs. That way, Jane could at least choose the other man she was forced to be intimate with.
Oh, so they saying now they admitting that that Cassie invited some of the escorts, you know what I'm saying? But basically saying she took charge of that so she wouldn't have to do it with people she didn't basically want to do it with at the same time by picking the escorts that came.
Like he did with Cassie, the defendant eventually took steps to control Jane financially. The defendant wanted Jane available with him at a moment's notice, and he discouraged her from working. Jane's income plummeted. The defendant gave Jane money and later started paying rent for the house that she lived with her child. That way, when Jane resisted the freak-offs and told him over and over that she wanted to stop, he had the power to coerce her back into hotel rooms. And just as he had with Cassie, the defendant threatened Jane with the videos he recorded of her engaging in sex acts.
Now remember, Jane, we're thinking that is Gina, Diddy's ex. But once again, Gina has went MIA on him and has no plans of coming to court. Now the defense team says they are in contact with Gina, but they're not going to bring her to court. So what does that mean for the case, guys?
With the escorts.
Without her, all they got is cash.
And the drugs and the threats were not the end of it. Not even a year ago today, Jane had the worst day of her life. The defendant came to Jane's house for an at-home date night. she and the defendant argued about another woman that the defendant had been seeing. Jane was upset and jealous. She had now spent years in hotel rooms for forced sex while the defendant took his other girlfriends for dates and trips. Jane hit the defendant and threw things at him. The defendant became enraged, so Jane tried to get away from him and hide. She ran to her bedroom and locked the door. He kicked it open. She ran to her bathroom and locked the door. He kicked it open. She ran to her closet and locked the door. He kicked it open. She ran to the guest bedroom and locked the door. He kicked it open.
Once again, all they done showed on Diddy is basically domestic violence, man. Where's the force? Where's the coercion? I'm just saying, this is the prosecution's opening statements.
She tried to run out the front door, but he grabbed her in a chokehold, lifted her off the ground by her neck, and kicked her to the ground.
Hey, Miss Paulette.
Later that night, they fought again. And just as he had with Cassie, the defendant viciously attacked Jane. He punched her in the face, kicked her while she was curled up in a ball on the ground, dragged her by her hair and her arm, and slapped Jane's face so hard she fell over. When all of this was over, the defendant still did not let Jane be. Instead, he told Jane, "You're not going to f my night." The defendant instructed her to put on an outfit and call up an escort for a freak-off. He made Jane cover her black eye and bruising, take an ecstasy pill, and perform for the defendant with that escort. Jane followed his instructions. Like with Cassie, the defendant's violence had gotten him what he wanted. The defendant's sexual violence did not stop at freak-offs, though. Cassie will tell you about a time when the defendant forced himself on her, having sex with her as she cried and repeatedly told him no. And Mia, an employee who the defendant worked to the bone for years, will tell you about the times that the defendant forced himself on her sexually.
That's still not being in traffic, coercion, or racketeering, man. They got every other charge nailed, but the ones that they said they was gonna get, the ones they was gonna get him on.
His hand up her dress, unzipping his pants, and forcing her to perform oral sex, and sneaking into her bed to penetrate her against her will. As I said before, the defendant had the power and the control, endless resources, and a loyal inner circle who would stop at nothing to get what he wanted.
All right, so we got Cindy. She says, you sound ridiculous defending this monster. Just so your fantasy can continue, you will be judged. You will be judged as well. Listen, Cindy, I'm not defending anybody. Anybody that did any wrong could go to jail. Let's say that I'm not saying that Diddy is not a monster. I'm not saying that he didn't do all the things they said he did. What I'm saying is they gotta prove it, and thus far they haven't proved it yet. Is he guilty of domestic violence? Yes. Is he guilty of maybe even being a drug dealer? Yes. He guilty of all of that. Is he guilty of a lot of things? Yes. But have I seen racketeering? No. Have I seen coercion? No. Have I seen what's the other one? Racketeering, coercion, and something else. I ain't seen none of those yet. What I have seen is that he got an anger streak with domestic violence. They could have got him on that, and being a drug dealer. But they gotta prove everything they said they was gonna prove. I ain't defending nobody.
Amidst all this violence, the defendant and his inner circle had to make sure that nothing put the defendant's public image and his power at risk. So as tirelessly as the defendant's inner circle worked to meet the defendant's every need, they also worked to cover up his crimes. Remember the video of the LA hotel of the defendant attacking Cassie during a freak-off? You will hear just how far the defendant, his bodyguards, and his chief of staff went to get what they thought was the only copy of that video.
She says you have no idea of this man's depravity. All I'm saying is this. I've been covering this trial since day one. When they first took him to jail. We done looked at all the videos, heard everything everybody had to say, including the little ones. And when we say little ones, we talking about the kids. Y'all got to understand, the kids situation and a lot of those situations that y'all were hearing with the silver suits, the ones that people are suing him for money, They're not in this trafficking trial. They not in this they're not in the federal case. They only in civil court. The only thing he facing is racketeering, which ain't got nothing to do with no little ones or none of that other stuff. Racketeering, what is it? Racketeering, coercion, and all, man, he ain't even facing the charges that they need to be putting on him. I understand you feel like it. You say he cooked. That's fine. I'm not saying he not. I'm just saying they got to prove it. I need to see more. I need them to prove what they speaking about, because all I done seen is domestic violence. Domestic violence and being nasty as hell.
The defendant first tried to pay off hotel security guard with a wad of cash in exchange for his silence. Then the defendant and his chief of staff reached out to a different hotel security guard to broker a deal. In exchange for the video from the hotel, the defendant gave the security guard a brown paper bag full of $100,000 in cash, while the defendant's bodyguard and his chief of staff stood by. This is far from the only time the defendant's inner circle tried to close ranks and do damage control. You'll hear how the inner circle covered up the defendant's brutal beatings by keeping Cassie in hiding for days. You'll hear about the inner circle contacting witnesses of the defendant's abuse to feed them lies, including even after he knew about the investigation in this case. Again and again, the defendant and his inner circle tried to keep the defendant's crimes out of public view, to protect his reputation and to protect his power. That is what the evidence in this case will show. For all of this, the defendant is charged with multiple federal crimes.
All right, so she finna name
more
him.
on the charges at the end of the trial when the judge instructs you on the law and his instructions control. But for now, there are just a few points I want to highlight so you have context for what you'll hear during this case. First, the defendant is charged with racketeering conspiracy based on his agreement to commit crimes as part of an enterprise.
All right, so there go the first charge, racketeering. You know what I'm saying? Listen to what she says that the definition is.
For what you'll hear during this case. First, the defendant is charged with racketeering conspiracy based on his agreement to commit crimes as part of an enterprise. I expect the judge will tell you an enterprise is a group of people who work together for a common purpose of engaging in a course of conduct over a time. Here, you will learn that the enterprise is the inner circle I talked about, the bodyguards and the high-ranking employees like chiefs of staff. Some of these people came and went over.
That's the racketeering charge. And now y'all make sure y'all listen to what she said that the racketeering is, so that you have a good idea.
Based on his agreement to commit crimes as part of an enterprise. I expect the judge will tell you an enterprise is a group of people who work together for a common purpose of engaging in a course of conduct over a time. Here, you will learn that the enterprise is the inner circle I talked about, the bodyguards and the high-ranking employees like chiefs of staff. Some of these people came and went over 20 years, but I expect the evidence will show that the defendant was a through line. He remained at the top, running the group, and he always had trusted bodyguards and advisors helping him. Together, they agreed to commit different crimes, including kidnapping and arson, distributing drugs to other people,
And I ain't gonna lie, that other day with the arson with Cudi, he only had assumptions. He didn't have no proof that Diddy did nothing. When he confronted Diddy said, "I didn't blow up your car." I don't know what you're talking about.
Labor, and in Mia's case, sex, bribery and obstruction, sex trafficking, and transporting people for prostitution. That's all covered by the racketeering conspiracy charge. The defendant is also charged separately for sex trafficking Cassie and Jane through force, fraud, or coercion. Again, the judge's instructions control, but I expect you'll learn that fraud includes a lie about a material fact. Coercion includes threats, and force includes violence. The defendant is charged with using all three tactics to make Cassie and Jane participate in days-long, drug-fueled, recorded sexual encounters with male escorts against their will. Finally, he was charged with transporting Cassie, Jane, and male escorts across state lines for these sexual encounters. How will the government prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of these crimes? You'll hear from witnesses, including Cassie and Jane,
We gonna most definitely need to hear from them witnesses, man. They need to come on and bring them
The
forward.
defendant's victims. They will tell you how the defendant tried to control their lives, from their homes to their careers, how the defendant used his control over them, his lies, his drugs, his threats, and his violence to force and coerce them into having sex with male escorts. Cassie and Jane will describe freakoffs for you in painstaking detail. They will tell you some of the most personal and painful experiences of their lives. The days they spent awake in hotel rooms, high on drugs, dressed as characters to perform the defendant's fantasy just as he directed them to. You'll also hear from some of the defendant's employees. You'll hear from Mia, who worked as the defendant's personal assistant for years, the employee he sexually assaulted. Mia is just beginning to grapple with the times the defendant forced himself on her sexually. Mia will tell you how she could not talk about what happened to her until recently, how she wanted to take the secret of what the defendant did to her to her grave. You will hear from the employee who the defendant forced into an SUV with a gun from one of the defendant's chefs, and from other personal assistants. They will tell you they worked punishing hours and days for the defendant, at times without any sleep. They will tell you how the defendant ordered them to buy drugs for him, how they used all the resources at their disposal to make sure the defendant always had everything he desired, how they were expected to keep quiet about what they saw and what they heard in the defendant's homes. You will learn that some of these witnesses and victims, including Cassie, have already received financial settlements from the defendant or have filed lawsuits against the defendant. But these witnesses will tell you they'd trade any money from the defendant for not having been abused.
Which means they have already been dabbling, in some of those civil cases and picking out the ones they deem to be the most credible, y'all. And none of them were anything to do with any little ones.
You will also hear from some of the escorts who participated in freakoffs with Cassie and Jane. They will tell you how the defendant directed the sexual activity between escorts and Cassie or Jane, down to the detail of how they touched each other, the specific sex acts they performed, all while the defendant filmed it. You will even hear from an escort who saw the defendant assault Cassie and drag her by her hair during a freak-off. In addition to these witnesses, you will see documents that prove the defendant's crimes. You'll see records from hotels, car services, and airlines showing the dates and locations when the escorts and women traveled to meet the defendant for freak-offs. You will see records of the physical damage the defendant in his freak-offs caused the hotel rooms where he stayed. You will see dozens and dozens of text messages about freak-offs, including messages from the defendant to his staff asking for more cash to pay escorts. Messages where the defendant tells Cassie what drugs to take and when before freak-off. And messages from Jane to the defendant.
This is what they looking to prove, guys.
Telling him over and over again that she did not want to do freak-offs. And you will see videos of some of the freak-offs. The videos the defendant used to blackmail Cassie and to blackmail Jane. Those videos capture just small parts of these days-long performances. In them, you can hear the defendant providing direction to Cassie and Jane, and you will see Cassie and Jane do exactly what the defendant tells them to do. You will see them put on performances high on ecstasy.
Did he threaten them to take it? Did he threaten them to do it? Meaning, did he use direct force, like saying, "Hey, if you don't participate in this freak off, I'm gonna put my hands on you"? I haven't heard that yet. I'm just saying.
Pretend to enjoy themselves because that's what the defendant said he wanted. You will see for yourselves the defendant's violence in its aftermath. You will see photos of Cassie and her injuries from the defendant's assaults. You will hear from witnesses who saw the defendant assault Cassie or saw injuries.
I see somebody down there that said probably doesn't, that nobody has took the stand yet and said that Diddy forced to put his hand, he said he was gonna put his hands on them, basically if they didn't do it. Cassie said, "I did it, I wanted to make him happy. I didn't want to see him mad," but she never said that he said, "Hey, if you don't do it, I'm gonna smack you around," or nothing like that.
On her. You will see photos of the damage the defendant did when he kicked in 4 doors at Jane's home. And you will see videos of Jane with bruising still on her face days after the defendant attacked her and forced her to do a freak off not even a year ago. You will see for yourself what the defendant had in his homes in March 2024 when they were searched. Guns, the defendant's so-called med bag full of illegal drugs, and freak-off supplies like lubricant and platform high heels. Finally, you will see and hear evidence of how the defendant and his inner circle worked to keep his reputation and his power intact for all these years. You will see the agreement.
Did y'all hear him say anything about spiked drinks, guys? Did y'all hear him say anything about putting something in somebody's drink and getting them to do something? No, they haven't said it. The prosecution hasn't said anything about anything being in the baby oil yet either. You know what I'm saying? With all the things they are alleging that was inside of that baby oil in this opening statement of things they look to prove, they didn't say nothing about none of that, y'all. They ain't said nothing about none of that. Would you take a drink from Diddy? Absolutely not. I'm not drinking nothing from Diddy. But I'm just saying, I'm not saying my personal perception. I'm saying what they are saying in the courtroom.
Signed by the hotel security guard, barring him from speaking about the $100,000 that the defendant paid him for the hotel security video. You will hear recordings of phone calls when the defendant called Jane after Cassie had filed a lawsuit. You will hear him. You will hear him try to manipulate Jane into saying she wanted to have freak-offs. You will hear him interrupt Jane when she pushes back. You will hear the defendant's thinly veiled references to continuing to pay for Jane's home in exchange for her silence. You will see the text messages the defendant sent to his chief of staff right after talking to Jane to make sure that Jane's rent would still be paid on time. The evidence will come in piece by piece. It won't always come in chronological order, but by the end of this trial, when you've seen and heard all of the evidence, you will see how it all fits together. You will see how it proves that the defendant led and controlled an enterprise that enabled him and others working for him to commit many crimes. How it proves that he forced and coerced Cassie and Jane into sex with male escorts, including by having them travel to other states and countries so that those sex acts could happen. And you will see how all of these crimes and the empire the defendant controlled was designed to fulfill his sexual desires, to protect his reputation, and to keep his power. At the end of this trial, we will have the opportunity to speak with you again. But between now and then, I would ask that you do 3 things. First, please pay close attention to the evidence. Second, please follow the judge's instruction on the law. And third, please use and trust your common sense. If you do all that, you will reach the only verdict that is consistent with the law and the evidence in this case, that the defendant, Sean Combs, is guilty.
Alright, you know what I'm saying? So those were the opening statements. You know what I'm saying? I also got the opening statements for the defense, man. Y'all want to hear the opening statements from the defense? I'm just asking, man. Should we hear what the defense is willing to tell us about how they plan, you know, to prove that he didn't do some of this, y'all? Y'all let me know, man. You know what I'm saying? What we doing? We getting up off him, and y'all got to show me some love, man. Double tap that screen, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you new. We can keep going. We can show the defense basically saying what they got to say, or we can wrap it up right here until another time, man. I'm just saying, y'all got to get them likes up, though. Where we at on the likes, man? 138, that ain't enough, man. Get the likes up. Yeah, we most definitely got the prosecution side. Escorts got paid not to yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? We most definitely got hey, man, we got the other side as well. I'm just saying, y'all most definitely got to get them likes up for your boy, though, man. All you have to do is double tap that screen or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, man. I just know, in my opinion, and y'all let me know down in the comments, my opinion is, you know, that basically right now in these first couple of days, they haven't really shown to me or proved too much of what they was alleging in the beginning, man. You know what I'm saying? I gotta see more proof. Where we at on the likes? 141, man. We still like. Can we get 150? on the like button, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'll change the title as well as the thumbnail, and we'll get the prosecution plus the defense statement in right now, man. This is most definitely crazy. Do y'all think they're gonna be able to prove what it is that they saying is going on? We still 6 likes shy, man. 6 more likes, we'll bring in the defense, man. Get the lights up, y'all. Subscribe to the channel if you new. This is Everything News, man. We most definitely got everything it is to have when it comes to this Diddy case, man. We still 6 shy, man. Get the likes up. You know what I'm saying? Get the likes to 150. All you have to do is double tap that screen or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, man. Subscribe to the channel if you new. Only thing Cassie proved to me, even though being in the hotel, getting kicked and beat up, you got married to a man and still went to see Diddy to freak him off, and that's 100% facts. Yeah, man, she most definitely said she gave Diddy the box willingly after he took it. He took it, and then they stayed in contact, went to a movie, and did it again. Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. I'm just saying. Oh, we 1 shy, man. We 149 on the like, man. Somebody else click the 3 dots, hit that thumbs up for your boy, man. Everything News in the building, man. Y'all know I usually jump on here with my face all in the cam. Alright, so I think we hit it. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to everybody that hit that like button. Give me a second. I'm finna pull up the defense, man. We gonna get them both in. Shout out to everybody.
He continued that relationship voluntarily.
Let's bring it back.
Adult
Hold on, here I come. I ain't went nowhere. I'm still here. Let's go. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We gonna get the defense in today, man. We gonna see what the defense got going, you know, and what they look to say that the prosecution is not gonna be able to prove, man. Let's see which one are we rocking with the most. Who's making the most sense thus far. Double tap that screen, get the likes up. Most definitely subscribe to the channel if you're new, man.
Advice: use this opportunity to silence it, or it will be taken.
Good morning. Sean Combs is a complicated man, but this is not a complicated case. This case is about
the defense
love,
right here.
jealousy, infidelity, and money. This case is about voluntary, adult choices made by capable adults and consensual relationships. This case is about those real-life relationships, and the government is trying to turn those relationships into a racketeering case, a prostitution case, and a sex trafficking case. It will not work. Let's start with the basics. The most important.
Now this is their counter to what the prosecutors just put out. This is Diddy and them's response to what they saying. This is the defense team opening statements.
In this courtroom are you and him. At a time when everything in government can feel so uncertain,
this is Tania Garagos, you know what I'm saying? Combs' defense attorney right here, you know, basically giving the opening statement.
Has remained the same in our justice system, and that is standing between all of us and a criminal conviction is a jury of our peers. That is you. You will hear the evidence. You will get to the truth. You will see the witnesses and evaluate them one by one.
Now, y'all remember, this is all taken from court transcripts. So this is actually what they said inside the courtroom. You know what I'm saying? These are from the transcripts.
And finally, the story about this case can finally come out. Why do I say that? Well, I say that because this case is not about what you've heard on the news, read in the news, or have seen on social media for the past year and a half. This case is not about what civil attorneys looking for a payday are trying to make my client out to be.
Said they are civil attorneys looking for a payday, making Diddy out to be something he is not. Let's go.
There has been a tremendous amount of noise around this case for the past year, and it is time to cancel that noise and hear and see the evidence that will be presented in this courtroom, and it will be crystal clear. The story of Sean Combs is a fascinating one, but it is a human one. We are going to tell you his story over the next 2 months in this courtroom, and you will learn that he is a man.
All right, so they said we're gonna tell you his life over these next 2 months. So Diddy trial, I'm guessing is 2 months long, y'all.
Who grew up here in New York City in Harlem, who came from little but built groundbreaking, lawful businesses. You will hear that he is a wealthy individual, but know that the evidence will show that nobody gave him his money. He worked for it and no one gave him a dime. It will show that he made every single dollar, recreated a culture, and produced music that I believe you will hear will change the generation. And I believe that the evidence is going to show that this ingenuity is what drew people to Mr. Combs. Witnesses will share with you that Mr. Combs is a fascinating person and that people are drawn to him. Yes, he is famous. Yes, he is wealthy, and that's certainly part of it, but he was charismatic and magnetic and a larger-than-life figure.
Let's go. Tom says, Mahel, you still my president that's always standing 10 toes down. No weapons formed against you shall prosper, and always stay consistent and healthy family. I already appreciate you, man.
You had any interest in climbing the social ladder at the time and being involved in the music industry, the apparel industry, spirits industry, attending his legendary parties, you wanted to be around Sean Combs. You also wanted to be around him because of the benefits that came along with being him. As you listen to the evidence in this case, try to remember why that matters. Try to remember why people stayed around him and why it matters. I expect it will matter to you as the jury because he gave people opportunities and gave people chances to work at his companies. They believed he had a vision that few others had, and for the most part, I believe the evidence will show you that they loved him. I don't think that the witnesses will tell you they always liked what he did or how he behaved.
She said they gonna show you that they loved him. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
The real-time text messages that you will review in
with
this
the
case
messages from
show that people
Cass
really loved him, and they believed that by being with Sean Combs, they were part of something special. So by now, you've heard the government say a lot of things about my client. It's time for me to introduce you to him. His name is Sean Combs. You may have heard him by Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Puppy Diddy, but standing in this courtroom at 55 years old is the same place he was born and raised. He's going by the same name he was born with, Sean Combs. My name is Tania, and I'm one of the attorneys honored to represent him. The government started their opening statement by telling you about this 20-year racketeering influence corrupt organization, Act Enterprise, that he committed with his apparent trusted inner circle. The only people in this courtroom who will tell you that they participated in, knew about, or came to an agreement to participate in a racketeering enterprise are the prosecutors. Not one witness will get into this courtroom and will take the witness stand and tell you that they were part of any racketeering influenced corrupt.
Let's go. You know what I'm saying? She said ain't nobody gonna get up there and say they was a part of any kind of enterprise. Yeah, man, Diddy's defense team, hey, they jumping out there.
Corrupt Organization Act Enterprise. And the reason is simple. There was not one. You heard what the government tried to say the enterprise is. That he used his lawful businesses to feed his every desire, including his sexual ones. This case is about Sean Combs's private, personal sex life, which has...
And that's exactly what it sounded like, to be honest, you know what I'm saying? They got to bring more people, man. Look at Paw Diddy.
Nothing to do with his lawful businesses. The government has no place here in this man's private bedrooms. The government can say over and over again that this is not about his private sex life, but the evidence will show you that it is. The people who will come into this courtroom and testify are the people who would know about a racketeering enterprise, and those people will all say they knew nothing about any enterprise. That is because these hard-working individuals were either doing their jobs as personal assistants or as top executives running his successful businesses. These are individuals educated at places from Harvard to Howard University.
Man, why you don't ask ABC, NBC, you know what I'm saying, all social media why they obsessed with the Diddy situation? It's the biggest situation on the internet right now. It's really, it's big like the OJ trial. It's a lot of people, you know, that's interested in what's going on with Diddy. Why aren't you interested? Why you come through here asking us why we are?
The prosecution will bring in those same employees and others into this courtroom and have them testify.
Stinson say this is a battle of public opinion. Let's go.
Sean Combs has a temper, and when he drank or when he did the wrong drugs, he would get violent. My client is not proud of that, but it is one of the many things we are going to own and fully admit right up front at this trial. Sean Combs had a bad temper. He sometimes gets so angry or so jealous that he is out of control. You will see evidence and you will hear some testimony that does not portray my client in a good light. You will hear some text messages, some voice notes, and some witness testimony that may make you think, I don't think this guy is a great guy. I don't like how he lied to his girlfriends. I don't like the things he just said in that text message. I want to tell you now, there may be one point, there may be multiple points at this trial where you think, I think he is a jerk and I think he's kind of mean. But he is not charged with being mean. He is.
Let's go. You know, now she's going to tell y'all the things that Diddy is not charged with, you know, when it comes to the public and the way that they feel about some of the things that he did.
Not charged with being a jerk. He's charged with running a racketeering enterprise. And though there was violence that you were going to hear about, you already have, that violence is not part of any RICO. That violence is not connected to sex trafficking, and that violence is not prostitution. There was
we most definitely exercised the Fair Use Act of 1976, man, and this is for educational purposes only, man. We inside the courtroom, y'all. Shout out, make sure y'all double tap that screen, keep those likes moving, and most definitely subscribe if you new. We inside the Diddy trial.
In criminal law for the violence.
The defense is giving their opening statement.
It is called domestic violence. It is called assault. Domestic violence is a very serious matter. I want to say that now. It is a bad, illegal problem, and it is something that the law addresses. We take full responsibility that there was domestic violence in this case. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking.
Did y'all just hear what she said? When y'all say he put his hands on Cassie, listen to what she said.
I want to say that now. It is a bad, illegal problem, and it is something that the law addresses. We take full responsibility that there was domestic violence in this case. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking. I want to say it again. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking. Had he been charged with domestic violence, had he been charged with assault, we would not be here right now. We would not be sitting through an 8-week trial. However, he has been charged with different crimes. Sex trafficking, prostitution, racketeering. These are federal crimes with their different statutes. They charge different elements, and he simply is not guilty of those crimes. One of the central themes of my statements to you will be personal accountability and personal responsibility. As the trial goes on, we will see that with each witness. We are going to take that on ourselves. We will not shy away from the things Mr. Combs did, but we will not deny his personal responsibility or own the things he did not do. We are telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug dealer. I'm telling you.
Did y'all hear that? She said, I'm going to tell y'all right now, Diddy is physical. He is a drug dealer. That was from his defense team, guys. You know what I'm saying? They said we're going to put it all on the table right now. He is physical. He guilty of domestic violence. You know, he may even be a drug dealer. He guilty of being a drug dealer. But the charges that y'all got him on ain't the right charges. If we was here for that, it'd be a different story. That's what his defense team is putting on the table. Y'all heard him say it. You know, he's a drug dealer.
Personal responsibility or own the things he did not do. We are telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug dealer.
He a what?
We are telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug dealer.
What?
We are telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug dealer.
Man!
We are telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug dealer. I'm telling
Yeah, just remember, y'all heard her say he is a drug dealer. She say, I'm telling y'all that up front. Yeah, man, they ain't holding back nothing. See, she can say that because they don't got him on there for being a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? They got him on there for being a whole different charges. But his defense team even said that he's a drug dealer.
I'm telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug dealer. We are telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug dealer. I'm telling you, he had a bit of a different sex life. For example, you have not heard any evidence in this case, but the prosecutors already told you about lubricant, and you may know of his love of baby oil. Is that a federal crime?
What? His love of what?
And you may know of his love of baby oil. Prosecutors already told you about lubricant, and you may know of his love of baby oil.
Now they brought the back. Now remember, I told y'all, we just listened to the defense. They said nothing about anything being inside the baby oil. Now his defense team is saying, yeah, man, y'all know he got an addiction to lubricant and basically baby oil. But where is all that talk that the internet was saying at first about all these different type of things that was supposed to be inside the baby oil? Evidently, what the feds found, didn't contain any kind of illegal substances inside the baby oil, because the prosecution didn't say anything about it.
Prosecutors already told you about lubricant, and you may know of his love of baby oil. Is that a federal crime? No. You will hear that he got IV. Is that a federal crime? No.
So him having baby oil and lubricant is not a federal crime. That means they didn't find nothing off inside of it, Lanice. I'm just saying, not his love of baby oil. Yeah, but they didn't find nothing inside the baby oil.
You will hear that he got baby oil. Is that a federal crime? I told you about lubricant, and you may know of his love of baby oil. Is that a federal crime? No. You will hear that he got IVs after ingesting drugs. Is that a federal crime? No.
Now go to IVs.
IVs after ingesting drugs. Is that a federal crime? No. He will be responsible. He will be accountable for the things that he did. But we will fight for his freedom throughout the next 8 weeks for what he did not do. And he cannot be the only person in this case who accepts personal responsibility and accountability for his actions. The alleged victims who will testify in this case are capable, strong adult women. They were all getting something each of them wanted from him.
We need 40 more likes, y'all. Y'all click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you new. Keep the likes moving. We need 40 more likes, guys. Double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device, or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. We inside the Diddy case, man.
And from being in a romantic
inside the courtroom
relationship with him. And these adults, capable, strong women, will have to take on the same level of personal responsibility for their lives that he is going to take on for his. When any person in life makes an adult choice, that is a free choice. A free choice has pros, it has cons. You may think there are better choices. You may think there are worse choices. But that does not eliminate the personal responsibility behind those choices. And each of the women you will hear from, they all have personal responsibility and the freedom to make the choices that they made. You will hear from these women. You will see these women. You will meet them. They will sit in that witness chair a few feet away, and you will evaluate them for yourselves. You will see that they are capable. You will see that they are strong, and you will see that they made free choices every single day for years. As you are listening to the evidence and you listen to them testify, I want you to ask yourselves, what are all the ways that this individual had the ability to make that choice? Ask yourselves, what are they getting from being with Sean Combs? They are not with him because they are stuck or because they are without a choice. The government will try to show you that Sean Combs is the only one getting something from each of the alleged victims who testify in this case. But with each of these individuals, ask yourself, what is this person getting?
So she's saying, what are they getting out of what are they doing? You know what I'm saying? What are the witnesses gaining from testifying against Diddy? Some got immunity. You know what I'm saying? Some may, if he's found guilty, may get that may help them in their civil cases. You know, she's saying basically everybody got something to gain that's taking that stand, y'all. Y'all double tap that screen. We almost to 200 likes, man. We need 30 more. Click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, man.
With him, or they are working for him because they are getting something they want from being with him. Now, with each person, that something may be different, and it usually is. But with each person, they are all getting something. So as you listen to the evidence, watch closely to the role that jealousy plays in the case. We have talked to you, both of us already, about jealousy and how it is pervasive and present in every single relationship. But I want to also let you know it drives a lot of the choices that the alleged victims make here.
Gucci two-time down there tripping, say it's all a dream.
One of those men that
Diddy.
I'll submit to you, we all know, the evidence is going to show that he is somebody who never married, but needed to always have a woman around him. He is a many-woman man. He has 7 children by 4 different women. And he's the kind of guy—
Said Diddy is a many-woman man. He like many women at one time. Hey, y'all, we 30 away. Double tap that screen, y'all. Get the lights up.
Who is always in relationships. In fact, he was always in multiple relationships. But critically, he was not always honest about that fact. And you'll find that even when women knew he was in multiple relationships, this would drive a primal jealousy in people. It would drive a lot of the choices you are going to see in this case. You are also going to see that Sean Combs is extremely jealous. You might think that it's hypocritical.
They admit he's extremely jealous.
Like it. But you are going to see that he is also extremely jealous. So as you're listening to the evidence and you're evaluating the testimony, ask yourself, what is causing that fight? The answer is, without exception, jealousy or drugs.
What's up, Harlem?
The things we are going to take responsibility for. It is typically because of jealousy or drug use.
Come on, y'all. We need 20 more likes. Click those 3 dots, man. Hit those thumbs up. Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's get the likes up. We inside the courtroom, man. You know what I'm saying? We looking at the defense team's opening statements, man. You know what I'm saying? Seeing who gave the better opening statement. I got my money on the defense right now. You know, she's laying it down. She even said that Diddy is a drug dealer. Hey, man, that's what she said. That's what his defense team said. Diddy is a drug dealer, man. Continue to get those likes up, man. You know what I'm saying? Get the likes up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new.
The role of jealousy here is critical, and it's pervasive. The evidence will show you that over the course of the 20 years we will examine in this courtroom, we'll see the same women over and over. They remained in multi-year relationships with him, and I believe that you'll pretty much know about every relationship he's had over the past 20 years. Again, that's whether this is an employee or a girlfriend. You will pretty much know about every girlfriend he has had. You will see that these women are strong, capable, and they were in love with him. You will see that breaches of trust, infidelity, and jealousy are what drove the domestic violence you will hear about. You will see that alcohol and drugs played a major role in his temper. The evidence is going to show you a very flawed individual, but it will not show you a racketeer, a sex trafficker, or somebody transporting for prostitution. So as we said, you're going to hear from 2 women, Cassie and Jane. This case is
Jane, they think it is Gina,
about sexual relationships with these 2 women. And you're going to hear that they went to private hotel rooms to engage in what I expect some witnesses at this case to call the swingers lifestyle, which is essentially just a fancier terminology for threesomes by adults. Sometimes Combs partook in the sex with his girlfriend and the male escort, and other times he watched while the male escort was having sex with his girlfriend. You heard the government call these freakoffs. I expect you will hear that. I expect you will also hear them called parties and entertainment. You will hear from both Cassie and Jane about these nights. They will testify about their relationships, and you will hear things that should never be heard in a federal courtroom. I think you've heard that already. You've heard things that may make you feel uncomfortable at first, that he liked to watch this. You might hear about his kinky sex or his preferences for sex.
And we most definitely done heard about all of that, man. Is this something, you know, is this criminal or is this just to air out his dirty laundry? Y'all double tap that screen. Let me know, man. We almost there, man. We need 15 more likes, y'all. 15 more likes.
That may make you uncomfortable and may not be what you like to do in your bedroom. But you are not here to judge him for his sexual preferences. You are not here to judge him for all purposes. You are here to evaluate whether the government can prove beyond a reasonable doubt what they actually charged him with. They cannot. You've also heard that in his relationships with both Cassie and Jane, he bought them things. Yes, like every relationship, they got things from their boyfriend. Here, a wealthy rapper paid for their housing. He paid for Cassie's car and he gave them money. These are nice houses that he paid for. It was a nice car that Cassie drove. And there were nice vacations on private planes because he is a wealthy individual.
They saying Diddy paid for all of that stuff because they was in a relationship as girlfriends. Remember, a while ago, she said you're going to find out he liked multiple women. I'm just saying.
These were vacations that they took together as couples. And as I've said, like in every relationship, there was jealousy and there were flaws. But as you evaluate the evidence in this case, remember that he's not charged with being a flawed individual or having a flawed relationship. They did not stay with him over and over again because of force, fraud, or coercion. The evidence in this case will show you that over and over again, day after day, these women fought to be in a relationship, fought to do what they want.
She said those women was fighting to be in a relationship with Diddy, man. This is Diddy's defense team. This is his this lady right here is Tina Garagos, man. We inside the courtroom. Double tap that screen, man. We need 13 more likes.
To do in consensual adult relationships. This case started with Cassie, so I think it's best for me to start there. I expect you will hear from her this week. She will sit in this witness box and she will tell you about her 11-year relationship with Sean Combs. You heard that they met when she was an up-and-coming artist. What you didn't hear is that she had a boyfriend at the time, and he was in a very public relationship with the mother of 4 of his children named Kim Porter. After the two fell in love and started dating, she broke up with
they brought up Kim Porter name, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, who out there thinks that Diddy had a hand in Kim Porter's demise, man? A lot of people seem to think that Diddy had something to do with Kim Porter passing away, man. We need 13 more likes, 13. Man, double tap that screen or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up for your guy, man. Let's get the likes up, man. Let's get the likes up. We got 210 people in here and don't even got 200 likes. Get the likes up, guys. If you've been in here the whole time, click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up.
Named Kim Porter. After the two fell in love and started dating, she broke up with her producer boyfriend, but Combs, for his part, did not break up with Kim. He remained in a public relationship with her, and that is something that caused extreme jealousy with Cassie. He continued that relationship with Kim Porter until her tragic, untimely death from pneumonia in 2018. This is important because as you look at the evidence and as you evaluate Cassie and Combs' relationship, you will see that their fights, their cheating, their jealousy is typically surrounded his cheating or it surrounded hers. This is something that plagued their relationship until the very last day. The evidence will show you that he was extremely jealous of Cassie's actual or perceived infidelities, and she was uncontrollably jealous of his. This led to a toxic relationship.
Oh, they said that they was in a toxic relationship and that Cassie was just as jealous as Diddy. What y'all think?
Between two people that I expect.
Now y'all have heard Cassie's testimony already.
The evidence will show deeply, deeply loved each other. Perhaps they did not always show love to one another the way you would with your partner, but they were in a relationship and she was not being trafficked. You will see that over and over again in this decade-long relationship. These two fought about his inability to remain faithful. I expect Cassie to tell you about the jealousy of Kim Porter and another girlfriend that he started dating in 2014.
Come on, y'all. We need 9 more likes, man. 9 more likes. Click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, man. We got more than enough people in the building to get us to 200. We need 9 more likes, man. Double tap your screen if you're on a mobile device or click those 3 dots, hit the thumbs up if you're on any other kind of device. Thank you in advance.
Gina. This jealousy is something that plagued their relationship, even the day of the Intercontinental video in the elevator bank that much of you told us during jury selection that you saw. That day, unfortunately, jealousy was on full display, and in combination with the bad drugs that I expect Cassie to testify that Combs took, it led to domestic violence in the elevator bank. This assault happened almost 10 years ago, on March 5th of 2016. I expect that we are going to see this video many, many times throughout this trial. You are going to see it later today, and I expect you to see it many more times throughout this week. You're going to see it a lot, but I want to start by saying two things. First, what Combs did to Cassie on this videotape is indefensible. It is horrible. It's dehumanizing, it's violent, it's virtually every bad word you can think of. And while it's dehumanizing and violent and terrible, the second most important thing is that it is not evidence of sex trafficking. It is evidence of domestic violence. You will see that it is also evidence of the central theme in this case, which is jealousy.
Do y'all agree, man? You know what I'm saying? She's saying all that they gonna prove is that it's domestic violence. Like a lot of people have been saying. What y'all think, man? You know what I'm saying? Y'all think this is a case of domestic violence, you know? Or do y'all think this is a case of racketeering, coercion, you know, and all that good stuff that they've been saying, you know, as far as on the news, man? You know what I'm saying? What are your true thoughts about this? What has the Diddy trial showed you so far? You know, I think the defense is pretty much on point. They most definitely putting it all on the table.
Watch it later today, and as you watch it throughout the week, I want you to look for two things. The first part is Cassie walking out of the hotel room, walking down the hallway. She's carrying two bags, and you see that she makes it to the elevator, and then Combs comes down wearing only a towel. He pulls Cassie by the hoodie, and she falls to the floor. He kicks her in the backside, and he stomps on the back of her leg, and he starts to drag her by her hoodie back to the hotel room. You will see him walk away momentarily with her bags, and you will see this. Then he comes back around and walks toward her, and she is kind of in the left part of the screen. When he comes toward her, he has nothing in his hand, and when he walks away from her, you will see an...
Come on, y'all, we're 4 away from 200, man. You know what I'm saying? Double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device and click those 3 dots, man. Let's get 200 points on the board, man. If you don't know what points is, they are likes, man. If you're enjoying the inside the courtroom coverage, most definitely double tap that screen or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, and most definitely subscribe to the channel if you're new, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's get those likes up. We at 197, man. We need more likes. Click the 3 dots, hit the thumbs up, man. You know what I'm saying? Click the 3 dots, hit the thumbs up. We most definitely need to get those likes all the way up before I lock the chat down. You know, if you're a chatter down there typing in the chat, you want to continue, you know, double tap that screen, or I'm going to turn it on subscriber only mode, where only people who are subscribed to the channel can type, and everybody else got to wait 5 minutes. So if you don't want to wait that 5 minutes, man, double tap that screen or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. Because I don't like having to keep on stopping and saying double tap the screen. Yeah, Puffy is a sweetheart, man. Yeah, I agree. That so far 75% is DV thus far. Yeah, I'm not saying they're gonna not pull out the big guns later on. We got 2 months of trial left. I mean, yeah, like 2 months. But I'm just saying this. As of right now, at this point, from all the testimonies from Kid Cudi, you know, to the assistants, to even some of the escorts they've been bringing and been testifying, I haven't heard anybody yet say that Diddy forced them to do anything. And that's what I've been looking for. I've been looking for the force. You know, even with Cassie's testimony, she got up there and said, man, I don't want to make him mad. I did it to make him happy. But she didn't never say that he was going to put his hands on her or nothing like that if she didn't do it. All she said was, I did it to make him happy. You know, you got to take everything into account, man. I'm listening the closest. I don't know about y'all, but I'm paying attention. You know, this is the biggest thing since OJ. Yeah, this is the biggest thing since OJ. So I'm watching everything. And when I tell you I'm not on the side, I'm not. If Diddy did these horrible things they saying that he did, that they charged him with, that he's charged with, then yeah, send him to jail. You know, lock him up, throw away the key. But in court, it's not about what you do, it's about what they can prove. And right now, they only proving domestic violence, in my opinion. I'm just saying, thus far, I know we got a lot more trial to go. I'm not saying they won't pull out all the stops, you know, and it ain't going to be other things that come out that shock us. But right now, DV, is what's standing out to me, man. You know what I'm saying? And him being a drug dealer. They admitted that. Did you ever think you was gonna hear them say that Puffy, Diddy, the diddler, Tootsie Roll Diddy, you know what I'm saying, Pixar Diddy, was a drug dealer? I would have never thought I'd hear that. That was something new right there. Like, wow, they really just came forth and said that Diddy is a drug dealer. Golly. Shout out to everybody that hit that like button.
Illuminated phone in his hand. He wanted this phone and he got it. Please understand that this video is overwhelming evidence of domestic violence, but it's overwhelming evidence that this domestic violence is over a phone and not because of sex trafficking.
All right, so y'all heard that as well. She said that the DV that y'all witnessed inside the hotel, that was behind Diddy's cell phone. Not because he was forcing Cassie back in the room to do a freak off. No, the defense team is saying that Diddy and Cassie was in that hotel hallway fighting over a cell phone, guys. That's what the defense says.
What causes a fight over a phone? We can all use our life experiences to show us that phones keep the secrets of infidelity. And you will hear that there was another fight even later that year, again, about a phone. I'm not justifying the assault.
They was fighting over phones. What they find in Diddy's house, y'all? They found a boot that had 3 cell phones off in it. I guess he got smart, man. After he was with Cassie and she was tripping on that phone, he kept him a phone he didn't do nothing in, and 3 other ones, that contained all kind of women. I bet you.
By a long shot, but I'm putting it in proper context because you will see that as soon as he gets the phone, he sits down. He's visibly disgusted. He broke a vase and he threw flowers and stayed away. The video has a second part. Cassie calls security from the hotel phone. The security officer comes to the floor and I expect you will hear from him later today. Combs is sitting in the chair slumped over. He's holding his head in his hands and the security officer tells him to leave the public area of the hotel where they are making a commotion. You will see Cassie turn to Combs and gesture to her, and pay attention to the words that I think you will hear her say to him, which is, get back to the room. 2 parts. Both of them important, and both of them important to show that Combs assaulted Cassie. But you can't stop there, because he is not charged with assault. Is it because of sex trafficking, as the government is going to argue to you? Or is it because of something else? I expect the evidence, even just this week, will show you that the fight was over a phone. These two stayed together 2 more years after this incident, and to understand how and to understand why is to understand how this relationship ended. You'll hear that, even into 2018, these two were fighting to stay together. But the evidence will show you that in the summer of that year of 2018, she woke up to a gossip site that showed a photo of Combs and Gina, the same woman who he had started having an affair with in 2014, or a relationship with, I should say, walking out of the Standard Hotel together. Cassie could not come back from it. She could not give him another chance, and instead, she made the choice, as she often did, when he was caught in public with Gina, to break up with him and date another man. For Cassie, she made a choice every single day for years, a choice to stay with him.
They saying Cassie did a lot of this on her own free will.
To fight for him. Because for 11 years, that was the better choice. That was her preferred choice. And so she made the choice to stay with him until one day she decided she was going to break up with him because that was her preferred choice. So it's important for you to remember as you evaluate the evidence, because she was not coerced to continue to engage in this sex life with Sean Combs. When she made the decision to leave, there were no repercussions, as the government hinted. She made the choice to leave. She communicated it to him, and she ran into the arms of another man, a physical trainer who Combs had hired to train her. So I will ask you, ladies and gentlemen, pay close attention to the messages, the real-time communications between these two individuals, and the messages surrounding their breakup. Does Combs release the videotapes the government was just talking about? No, he doesn't. You will hear that the government raided 2 of his homes.
Yeah, they saying Diddy basically didn't release any freak off tapes like the victims are alleging, that he used them against him as a form of blackmail. Remember, Cassie even left and got pregnant by another man, got married, got a husband now. and basically really hasn't had any problems out of Diddy. So basically they trying to say, you know, she chose to stay for a lot of this.
You heard that over a year ago. They seized countless electronic devices. The only freak-off videos you will see or hear about at this trial came from her devices that she kept for 5 years. So when the government talks about power and control, who had the power? Who had the control? The government did not find any freak-off videos with Cassie on those devices. And so going back during the time of Cassie and Combs' breakup, Cassie is already dating her now husband. She is with him for months as she is breaking up with Combs, all while telling Combs she still loves him. And then in November of 2018, Kim Porter tragically passes away from pneumonia. Knowing that Combs would be distraught and wanting to be there for him, she did everything she could to be there. She came to memorial service at his home. She flew to Kim's home state of Georgia to be at the funeral. Don't lose sight of the fact that amidst a breakup, all the way at the end of 2018, she flew to a funeral service to be there for him and support him.
Saying that even after the breakup, y'all, Cassie was still coming around. That's what the defense is saying.
And his family during this trying time of their life. And at the service at their home, Combs, to a group of loved ones, former employees, and others, and to many people on social media who were paying respects, said, and I quote, "Kim was my soulmate." In Cassie's presence for everyone to hear, he said, "She was my soulmate." The end of the relationship between Cassie and Combs is important, and I want you to focus on the evidence of how and why it ended. When Combs publicly said Kim Porter was his soulmate to all the people around him who were there, for the first time maybe ever, Cassie realized all the things she would not be. I expect many witnesses at this trial to tell you she wanted to be Combs' wife. I expect she may even tell you that. That is what she spent 11 years trying to get, and in one day it became clear to Cassie she was never going to get that. And if she was never going to be Combs' wife, if she was never going to be the love of his life, then she would leave. And that is what she did on her terms, her choice, for reasons that, for her, were the right reasons. This is where bringing personal experience to this jury matters. This is something we have all been through. That one life event you can point to where you can say, that is when I knew it was over. Because that is what this was for her. Because this was a relationship, although toxic at times, like every other relationship, it was not based on coercion. It was not based on force. At a certain point, you know you're not going to get what you need from the other person, and you leave. After Kim's funeral, they never saw each other again. The very first time that this former couple will see each other after 6.5 years of a breakup is in this courtroom later today or tomorrow. We are all going to witness their closure, and that is because she moved on with her life and he moved on with his. You will see that she married the trainer. She had 2 children with him, and she's pregnant with her 3rd. And Combs also moved on with his life. As you listen to her testimony, as you read her messages closely, evaluate what Combs' intent was at the time. Evaluate what he understood, what she wanted during those 11 years that they spent together. What he understood, I expect the messages to show you, was that she was a willing participant in their sex life. That was a voluntary adult choice by 2 capable adults. What Cassie may testify to this week, 6 years after a breakup, is not a match for the real-time evidence that you will have. The real-time text messages, I urge you to read. Evaluate his intent, which is the only thing that matters here. The government also talked to you a lot about Jane. She is the other woman that the government alleges Combs sex trafficked. She was his girlfriend of 3 years, and she comes into his life several years after the Cassie breakup. He, I think you will find in the evidence, is a little bit different in 2020 and 2021 than he was when dating Cassie. And I think the most important reason you will see is that he was more upfront about his dating life. Rather than saying that he was only dating one person, he was very upfront with Jane. I expect her to tell you that he was dating multiple different women. However, as I started my opening statement, this did not stop the jealousy. Jane's relationship with Combs was plagued by jealousy. Their relationship was not the 11-year public romance that Combs and Cassie had. The problem is that...
Now remember, Jane, they're calling her, they think that's that lady, that's his ex-wife Gina. you know what I'm saying, that they're speaking of. Make sure y'all clicking those 3 dots, hitting that thumbs up, get the likes up.
Jane wished it was. The government told you that their relationship was not public. You are going to hear from Jane why that was. There are many different reasons why that was. And so after a period of time, their relationship became primarily sexual. Jane is also older than Cassie was when she started dating him and was living her own life in a different state raising her child. She is a capable, strong adult woman. And you're going to hear, as I expect that you've already heard, that pretty soon after her relationship with Combs started, you brought up the idea of whether she would want to have sex with another man, again, like a consensual threesome. And Combs could watch. She agreed, and they went to a private hotel room away from his employees, away from family. And I expect she will testify that she enjoyed that night. She laid down on the couch after and said to herself, like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. And you will see that Combs really began to love these hotel nights with her, and I expect that she will testify that she began to do everything possible to make these nights incredible for Combs. That includes finding the best male entertainment to join them, to wear the outfits he would find the sexiest, and saying all the things during these nights that would excite him. I expect she will testify she did this because she loved him. She was desperate to spend time with him, to be with him, and ultimately to give him something none of the other girlfriends that he was dating at the time were giving him. She will tell you that she tried many times to change the tenor of the relationship from one of a purely sexual nature to something maybe deeper or more meaningful. I'm not sure exactly how she will put that to you, but she will testify that it always came back to what they would call parties, which were these nights in hotel rooms. And the evidence will show you that she did it over and over again for 3 years because she made the choice. And this became their time together. This became their sex life. And I expect that she will testify that she realized that if she didn't have these hotel nights with Combs, they may not get their alone time together, which is the time she so deeply craved. I will expect she will tell you that she kept coming back over and over again because she did it for the affection. She did it for the love, for the cuddle.
For the affection, for the love, for the cuddle. You know what I'm saying? Not because she was forced. That's what the defense saying.
Because she knew it would make him happy. And she wanted more than anything to make him happy. She was unable to resist him emotionally, and her desire to be with him outweighed all other considerations of hers. The government told you about a phone call they had in November of 2023. I expect the evidence will show you that even after this phone call, she continued. She flew out to see him many more times and continued willingly engaging in these nights. The evidence is going to show you a toxic and dysfunctional relationship between these two individuals, and you may think to yourself, wow, he's a really bad boyfriend.
Y'all make sure y'all double tapping that screen.
She's a capable, strong woman who willingly engaged in their sex life so they could spend time together. That is simply not sex trafficking. I expect her to testify that she was a willing participant, and being a willing participant in your own sex life is not sex trafficking.
The defense team says that Cassie was a willing participant, y'all. What y'all think about that thus far? What y'all think from a testimony? How y'all feel? This is Tina Garagos, Diddy's lawyer. You know what I'm saying? This is an AI look inside the courtroom using the transcripts from court, to basically tell the story of what's going on. The lawyer is too seeming for her own good. Let's go, boss lady.
I expect her to also testify that there were nights she engaged in the sex because she hoped she could turn their relationship from one of a more sexual relationship into something more. And she will testify that if she walked away, she would have lost him. That is not something she was willing to do. And as I said, you will see her jealousy on full display at this trial, and you will see that she was willing to engage in these nights with Combs. And then she would be on social media after, and she would see he was with another one of his girlfriends, either out to dinner or traveling, and she would send messages with regret afterwards.
She would send messages with regret afterwards, saying that Cassie still wanted Diddy.
These are born out of jealousy, which was the root of their troubles. And regret does not mean that she was coerced. Her jealousy drove her to make the moves that she made. As I said, every single witness in this case had free choice to make the choices that they made. The jealousy of other women in Combs' life was one of hers. Seeing the other women that he would be on social media posts with or otherwise drove her to try to be in first place and made her more desirous of their time together. This was the way to get there, and the evidence will show you that that is simply not a crime. The government also told you about a night
All right, boss lady says his lawyer is disgusting. She just as bad as him in my eyes. I bet. You know, we got a court that says with one of his assistants, they were giving the company card to pay for a lot of the freak off stuff. So that part, that's part of the RICO charges. Okay, I bet. What's up, K-Sale?
A year ago, when Jane hit Combs, once again, as I said, this was a knife born out of jealousy. You will hear, as you've already heard, that he also hit her back. But what you didn't hear was the start of the fight. She was overcome by jealousy that night. She slammed his head down on the kitchen counter. This is how the fight started. I do not want to justify that night. I do not want to justify the assault, but I simply am here to tell you that the evidence will show you that it starts because she slams his head on her kitchen counter. And you are also going to hear that...
Dang, said one of the fights started because Cassie slammed Diddy's head against her kitchen cabinet in her house.
Less than a month or approximately a month after this assault, an incident of domestic violence at her home, she flew to Combs' home in Miami. She called an escort and had what I expect her to say was one of her best hotel nights, that she was with one of their regular escorts. Now, during the testimony of both Cassie and Jane, I expect the government is going to put in a bunch of videotapes of the so-called freak-offs or hotel nights or wild king nights, however you would like to call them, into evidence. These videotapes depict what we've been telling you about Sean Combs, one of his girlfriends, and a man. These videos, we believe, are powerful evidence that the sexual conduct in this case was consensual and not based on coercion. But I want to say one thing to you now. Some of you may find them hard to watch. Not because they are violent, not because they are non-consensual, but because they were never meant to be seen by people outside of that room. They are, in one word, intimate. And they were always meant to remain that way.
She's saying that the freak off tapes were consensual in between Diddy and Cassie, and that basically they were intimate moments.
The reason these videos will be seen by you is because the government has chosen to take possession of these videos and to put them in evidence in a federal courtroom. Playing these videos will feel invasive, but the government has charged him with sex trafficking.
Yes, Gillian, as at this point. Now, there may be some things that come up that make me say that look different. But right now, with what I'm hearing her say and what I done heard within the courtroom, he still got a good shot. That's just being honest.
And the evidence of the alleged sex trafficking is on these videos. This is why you will have to see them. You may hear about other women. The government told you about someone named Mia, for example. I urge you to pay attention to these other women's real-time communications with Combs. Ask yourself, why are they making these allegations now? What is their motive? You will conclude, like you will with every single other witness in this case, that everybody who testifies has a motive. With Mia, for example, I ask you to evaluate her motive when you listen to her testimony. What are the reasons she is saying what she might be saying now, what she never said before, and certainly never said when she first started cooperating with the government? This is someone you should evaluate her messages carefully.
Okay,
One's an unbelievable love for Combs throughout her employment. You are also going to hear from several other past employees of his. They will try to paint a picture.
K-Sale said even if she don't feel like that, even if the lawyer don't feel like what she's saying, she's getting paid to do her job. Let's go.
For you of a hostile workplace. As I've said with nearly every single witness in this case, when these people testify, ask yourself, why did anybody, if they were so scared and if this was so hostile, ever call the police? Why not? I expect that...
She said, why didn't nobody ever call the laws, man? Why not? Hey, man, the defense team is getting that. They is working hard for that money.
Evidence will show you that the testimony against him, their former boss, for many, not all, is vindictive, or they are being subpoenaed to give it. Like every other witness, ask yourself, what is the something? What is the reason they stayed?
Court said because they were scared. Let's go.
You will find with every single person, they had a something. So when you hear from the witnesses who testify here, who will tell you they were victimized, and you ask yourself, what is their motive? For many of them, the answer is simple: money. This critical case started because of Cassie, not because...
Whoop, said they want some money. Remember, she said, what do they have to gain? You know, some of them money, you know, and some of them just get to put his business on the street. Says Tini Garagos, Diddy's attorney, man.
She went to law enforcement with her allegations, but because she filed a public lawsuit against Combs in November of 2023, at this time when she was having financial trouble and living in her parents' modest home in Connecticut with her family. Rather than go to law enforcement about what had allegedly happened to her, she went to a civil lawyer who is here today. I expect that this trial, from nearly every witness that you hear from, they will tell you that instead of going to law enforcement, after either their employment ended for the alleged victims, they went to a civil lawyer for a money grab, they will claim that they were so afraid of this man that they could, of course, not go to the police because he was so powerful. But they were not so afraid that they could not...
Thank you, Miss K. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel since you risking your job to listen to me. Make sure you double tap that screen, you know, or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. I'm most definitely glad you're entertained. Thank you.
...to civil lawyers to make money demands against him. Demands for unbelievable amounts of money. More money any of us have ever made.
Okay, Miss K.
For example, will tell you that she first made a demand on Combs for $30 million.
What's up, Maya?
Another witness will tell you that in a breach of contract case, she made a demand for $22 million. And as you listen to these witnesses, and there will be many, as the prosecutor told you, who made civil demands against him, I want you to ask yourself, how many millions of reasons does this witness, swearing to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, have to lie? How many hundreds of thousands of reasons does this witness, swearing to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, have to lie? Will you really believe that these people who have demanded an unimaginable amount of money from Mr. Combs would have traded all of that not to be abused? Because if that is the case, I submit that you will reconsider, why did they never go to law enforcement? So in closing, the evidence will be framed to prove from the government. They will attempt to prove racketeering influence and corrupt organizations act charged, 2 sex trafficking charges and 2 prostitution charges. The evidence you will hear at this trial will not make out any of them. The conspiracy charge is that Combs allegedly committed 2 counts of acts of kidnapping, 1 count of arson, a bribery, an obstruction of justice, forced labor, and drug trafficking. I'm going to take these briefly in turn, and then I'm going to ask you to evaluate the evidence by the witnesses who will testify on these acts. First, he did not commit any of these acts. In terms of the alleged bribery and the obstruction of justice...
Boy, that look just like Diddy. Paw Diddy, man. Lord, have mercy. They got him all the way right. He look just like Diddy.
This relates to the Intercontinental Hotel incident that we talked about this morning. You will hear, as you already did, that he paid money to a security guard at the Intercontinental...
Matthew said what she's saying is some BS.
So the footage would go away. This was solely related to preventing bad publicity for both Combs and Cassie, and had nothing to do with obstructing a law enforcement investigation. No law enforcement investigation existed, period. That is a requirement. And so evidence will show you he simply did not commit those acts. As to the kidnappings and the arson, I submit that you are not going to find there were any kidnappings, and he was simply not involved in the alleged arson. The government told you that the kidnappings relate to 1 employee who I'm telling you the evidence will show worked for Combs for almost a decade. As you listen to her testimony and evaluate, was this person actually kidnapped? I expect the evidence is going to show you that even after the criminal investigation into Combs started, she asked to work for him again 12 years after her employment ended, 12 years after she claimed she had been kidnapped the last time. Now, more than a decade after these kidnapping acts, and so the evidence is going to show you that he simply did not commit them. As to the drug trafficking,
everybody in here knows that it's AI, guy. You know what I'm saying? But it's not no BS, dog. You know what I'm saying? This is from the actual transcripts within the courtroom that they're talking from. So this is everything that was really said off inside the courtroom. Just since there's no cameras, you know, we can't actually get the video. So AI is the best we got.
Submit, the evidence is going to show you that the drugs are personal use drugs for him and at times the woman he was with. Those drugs have nothing to do with an enterprise. As to the forced labor, you will see that Combs worked hard. His employees worked hard, but they were there to do something great and novel for his lawful businesses. It was not forced. Being there was an adult, free choice like everything else in this case. Second, the RICO conspiracy requires a group effort, even if the group is 2 people, and there will be no evidence of that. So as you are listening to the evidence, ask yourself, who is Combs actually conspiring with to violate the Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organization Act? The answer will be no one. Finally, the last of the charges I will talk to you about are the 2 counts that charge him with causing interstate travel for the purpose of prostitution. For him to be guilty, I expect the judge will tell you that he had to intentionally engage in what he knows to be prostitution. What the evidence is going to be is that he was paying different men for their time and unexperience. Think about the pornography industry, for example. Actors in pornographic movies are paid for their time and generally they have sex.
In which I brought that point up before. What's the difference between what people in the adult industry do with flying people out to different locations to do what they do than what Diddy did, flying people out to different locations to do what they do? Why haven't some of these adult entertainment people, you know, being hit with racketeering? Because they basically doing the same thing.
Otherwise, movies are. Think about the pornography industry, for example. Actors in pornographic movies are paid for their time and generally they have sex. Otherwise, it wouldn't be pornography. You'll also hear about many companies. I expect you'll hear from one later today called Punkomania, a company called Cowboys for Angels that advertise online across the country where you can pay money for time and an experience. These escort companies are common and they do not advertise themselves as money for sex. They advertise themselves as money for time and money for an experience. And that's what Sean Combs was doing. He was paying money for that experience. So in closing, I ask you once again to listen carefully to all of the evidence. You are not here to judge or impose your moral beliefs onto this man. You are here as a jury of his peers to determine whether the government can meet its burden of proving beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed these crimes. You will hear the evidence. When you go back into the jury room and evaluate the evidence in light of the crimes that are actually charged here, you will return the only verdict that the evidence demands, that he is not guilty of these crimes.
Yeah, they saying, hey, that Diddy is not guilty, you know, of those crimes. That was the defense team opening statements, man. What they are looking to prove within this Diddy situation, y'all. You know what I'm saying? They say that Diddy is not guilty, man. Contrary to what we've been hearing, you know, they're saying that yes, Diddy is guilty of domestic violence. Yes, Diddy is guilty of being nasty. Yes, Diddy is guilty of being a drug dealer. They said that. I had to bring that back. You know, but they saying what he's not guilty of is any other charges that the feds have brought up on him. Contrary to what these people are saying about little people being at parties and, you know, narcotics inside the baby, or the prosecution didn't say anything about it. And the defense team says basically they are looking to prove that they might have got it right on everything else except the things he's charged with. What y'all think about it? Let me know. Yeah, we most definitely exercise the Copyright Act of 1976. Now, we can do one of 2 things, guys. We can turn it off and go to sleep, or we can hear what one of these people you know, who says that they were basically at a freak off named Tania, has to say about the things that went on in the freak off, man. You know what I'm saying? I still got plenty of time. I ain't sleepy yet. But in order to make that happen, man, y'all got to double tap that screen, man. We got to see the likes go up. You know what I'm saying? We need about 250, you know, and we at 219. Double tap that screen, get the likes up. What y'all thinking so far? Is Diddy gonna walk or is Diddy out of there, man? You know what I'm saying? We at 220, man. You know what I'm saying? We need 30 more on that like button. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got all night to wait. There's enough people. And that if everybody who hasn't double tapped their mobile device or click those three dots and hit the thumbs up or go ahead and hit it, we'll be there like that, man. We at 223. Let's get the likes up, guys. Chris Smith say it looks so real. Yeah, man, they took us off inside of there. Now tomorrow, I'm gonna come back with another section of this. You know, when Cassie takes the stand, we gonna get to hear what Cassie had to say firsthand, man. That's tomorrow at 12 a.m. Central Standard Time, man. Even if YouTube don't send you your notification, make sure you pull up, man. We'll be here at 12 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow, man. Set your alarm, write it down, do whatever you gotta do, because YouTube may not send you your notifications. See, we be keeping it real over here. They be trying to shadow ban us, man. Make sure y'all double tapping that screen. That's why it's important to get those likes up, man. I see we done jumped to 231, man. Yeah, thank you to everybody that hit that like button, man. Appreciate it. Get the likes up. He going down. We got somebody said he going down. What's up, L? You know what I'm saying? Diddy done. Okay. Itty bitty Diddy gonna meet Big Troy in the boys. Okay, y'all think he going to the pen? I hear you. You going to the yard? No. You know what I'm saying? I will not be going to no yards today, man. Yeah, only yard I'm going to is my yard when I cut it. You know what I'm saying? We need 18 more on that like, man. We 248 deep. Get the likes up. 420, what's up, man? How y'all feeling so far with everything we done seen? I know y'all done heard Kid Cudi. Y'all heard from the assistants. Y'all heard from Cassie. You know what I'm saying? So far, do y'all think that the prosecution has met its burden of proof to prove that Diddy is guilty of any of these things they allege? 233. We almost there. Shout out to everybody that subscribed to the channel, man. We on the road to 27K. We need all the subscribers we can get. So subscribe, man. Man, I just got jumped. Well, man, I don't know what to tell you, We gonna pray for you, man. You know what I'm saying? Call the police. If you just got jumped, dog, call the laws. You know, you'll be all right. You know, call the police and take cover, man. Do we are going to head from, man, what is you talking about? Kelly Carter, Eli, what's up? Not all. They need to stop their case. They need to stop their case up. Okay, it's 10:26 in the morning in the UK. Shout out to the UK in the building, man. We at 234, man. We need 16 more likes. Hit that like button. Get the likes up. We'll hear from Tania, who says that she was at a Diddy freak off party, man. You know what I'm saying? Where she seen little people. You know, it's crazy. Oh, the prosecutors need to stop their case up. Okay, yeah, because it's leaking right now. It's most definitely leaking. No, Allie Carter. Man, Allie Carter, I haven't heard any mentions of her taking no stand or none of that. You know what I'm saying? Where is Allie Carter? I don't think anybody's heard from her since this case started. Since the trial started. Jaguar Wright has been most definitely vocal. A lot of the ex-making the band people have been very vocal. Yo, Chopper and Freddie P been out here giving interviews like it ain't no tomorrow. Chopper said that he actually went to the Diddy trial to see Diddy, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, Leon, man, you take care as well, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. You know what I'm saying? We getting there. Continue to hit that like button, man. Let me load Tania up, man. We'll get a little bit of what she had to say about her time being at a Diddy party and seeing little ones. You know what I'm saying? At the party. Hold up. Let me get to it. Hold up, y'all. Dang, how'd I get to it? What's going on? Where my option at? My option at? All right, hold on. I'm about to get to it. Shoot, if I can. Where the option at? They done took my option away. How do I get? I done forgot how to get there. I'm still here. Hold on, y'all. What in the world is going on? Where is the option at? I done forgot, y'all. I done forgot where the option is. Did they take it off? I do not see, hold up, man. Where my option at? Oh, here we go.
Tania, but
all right, so this is Tania, guys, talking about her experience at a Diddy party. Y'all remember her? She talks about being at a Diddy party. She got pictures and everything.
in his freakoffs, we could just get straight into it by being in Miami with the Prince. Original Miami saying that since I was an artist, I can rub elbows with producers. I had no idea who I was gonna meet. I didn't know what to expect. I was just like, okay, let's go for 2 weeks. The 2 weeks was during a festival called Ultra Music Week, and the Prince.
Why she not in the courtroom, y'all? Double tap that screen. Continue to get the likes up, man. We need 12 more likes.
Figured, and just by the way, the Prince was so attracted to me. He said he didn't want anything to be sexual. He wanted to respect me for my talent. And you know, it's always good for people to be like attracted to you, because then they'll do more, or that they like something about you, so like they take interest in you. And so I was just honored, like, okay, you know, he's Saudi Arabian, I didn't know if he was actually a prince, but then when we got out to Miami.
All right, so this lady is saying, now her story is she met a prince from somewhere, some kind of way, you know, while she was in Miami or something. You know, she said she prayed for it, and then she met the prince, and then the prince introduced her to Diddy, and from then, that's when she seen the freakoffs.
Just seeing all the royalty, I seen people bowing down to him, and I just was like he's really a prince, like this is crazy. And we were doing a lot. So basically, I just was trusting him, okay? So that's why I didn't ask any questions. I didn't know what to expect. As we got there to Miami, we're in a $30 million house. It started with me being there and another girl, just with 2 girls at first. So this $30 million house had about, I don't know, I say about 10 rooms in there. I have my own room.
Her name is Tania. She says that she was most definitely almost caught in traffic at a Diddy party. Girl. They tried to have her in traffic all the way to Cuba.
They didn't have her own room. She was in there with the prince, but she was already there when I got there with the prince. So when I met him in California, he tried to fly me out that day, but I gave him like a 24-hour grace period. Like, wait, I don't even know you. And he flew out that night. So the next day, he FaceTimed me and showed me, like, you see where I'm at? So then we got my ticket that day. So I guess, you know, he probably came with the Asian girl already, or I don't know how that happened. She was like his assistant. She wasn't an artist. She wasn't nothing like that. So she stayed in the room with him. I wasn't in their business, but I kind of, you know, seen that it was kind of like a little fling going on. I wasn't worried because remember, I'm the artist. So I've always been told never mix business with pleasure. You know, if you want somebody to take you seriously, don't have sex with them. So I just was like, I'm not going to do nothing with the prince. Whoever I meet, I'm going to...
How lucky is she to meet a prince?
The business. So that was my whole mindset throughout the whole
But
thing.
she got
I'm
pictures
just saying
and
that
everything,
because by the time I
y'all.
got to the freak off, I was already like cautious, like this is a setup. Because if I want anybody to take me seriously, I can't do anything. So long story short, I'm there for about a week. We're picking up girls night after night. We're going to Club Live. We're going to sushi bars. We're going to different restaurants. We're going shopping. We're going to Neiman Marcus. He's whining and dining me, not giving me any physical money, but he's swiping this American Express black card. So I'm just being nosy.
So she giving us the rundown about the prince she met and how she wound up intertwined with Diddy.
You know, he flew his cousins out there. We're riding around in a Maserati truck.
What's up, Mark?
We had like Uber service, and then we had the car service. You know, so it was Uber, but he was like, you know, we have the car service. Right? So I was honored. I started to see familiar faces. You know, people that I've seen on TV before, and I'm like, okay, this is crazy. I'm like, he must really be like a respectful.
Shout out
I
to you for that,
so
my guy. Shout out to CJ.
I was wondering, like, when were we gonna go to the studio, or when were we gonna do something musically inclined, or are you gonna introduce me to somebody? Because at this point, I'm just like, okay, enough is enough. We're going shopping, we're not doing nothing, and I'm really kind of getting mad because I'm like,
now we ain't heard none of this within the case, guys. You know what I'm saying? This is just somebody with pictures, you know, in a story that says that they actually met Diddy, which she got the pictures to prove. Gillian said, man, don't play that crap. Gillian say she don't believe it.
We just keep on picking up more and more girls. And just as a girl myself, I don't want too many girls around, because then are you going to do what you say you were going to do for me? Like, I don't want the promises to start to change. So when a week go by, where are we going to have in? And then, mind you, I'm like, so you said we were only staying for 2 weeks, right? So what are we going to do in the next few days before I go home?
They say she was up in Dubai. Okay.
Don't worry about
Her
it.
name's Tania, guys. She has been on TMZ. She has been to a lot of places with this story.
Oh no, I got somebody very important, very special. I want to introduce you to. It's a producer. So I'm thinking in my mind the time that it was around. I was trying to think who was popping, a popping producer at that time. The last thing I would have thought was P. Diddy. Not like that, but you know, because he's, you know, kind of old school. He wasn't really trending at that time. So I'm like, oh, DJ Khaled? Like, because I'm thinking, like, okay, he's a prince.
Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate it.
Like, no. He's like, no, we're going to Club Live.
Now, this is how she get into it with Diddy.
Because that's like one of the popping clubs. And so this time, he was like, I want you to pick somebody tonight. Usually when the girls come back with us, I don't do the picking. He does the picking for his cousin Saji does it.
We need 5 more likes, guys. Get the likes up. We most definitely are listening to Tania and her first-hand accounts of being at a Diddy party, guys. If you ain't never heard that testimony, you most definitely want to hear it. Double tap that screen. We need 9 more on that like button. Either double tap or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, man. You know what I'm saying? We listened to Tania give a testimony about Diddy's parties, guys. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. If you new, make sure you subscribe.
Or he invited his nephew that I called Drake, because they look like little Drakes. And I was like, oh, okay, Drake and them is coming with us tonight. And you know, that was just like a little insider. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. That was another thing too. Like, his nephews were kind of like little finessers. Like, he would use his nephews to be like the young, attractive men that would attract girls like me. Maybe to pick girls out for Diddy or whoever, right? I picked someone
saying that the prince might have been one to pick out girls for Diddy, okay? Allegedly.
I'm like, what do you want me to pick her for? He's like, because we're going to P. Diddy's house.
So this is how she goes. She meets Diddy.
Like, oh my God, I'm about to get signed tonight. That's what I'm thinking. And then at 6 o'clock, we go to P. Diddy's house in the morning. So I never been to like an after party that early to where
So this is her actual footage of being at Diddy's house. This is from, I'm guessing like her Snapchat or something. You see it says Diddy's house lit. You know what I'm saying? Because her and the Prince were at Diddy's house.
just start at that time. Usually when you go to an after party, it's about to be over around that time because people have been partying all night. No, this shit just got started. And then it was 6, and then the sun started to come up. Next thing you know, I just see. So we get there, we drive there, we hit
That's
security.
her.
Security doesn't take our phone, but they put our phones in some bubble.
That's her arriving to Diddy's house.
So that means that we can't get to our phone. So I'm like, I've heard a lot about this type of stuff. Like you go to these parties and they don't let you use your phone.
You know why Puff's parties are so cool, man? Because you can't
Machine
get
Gun
into the
Kelly
party. It doesn't matter what the fuck's going on in the party. Nothing cool is going on in the party.
Kid, hey, it's crazy they bring him on. He had a story that said Diddy kept him up all night one night. Took him to like 3 or 4 different nightclubs. That's the Machine Gun Kelly.
The party. But you can't, for some fucking reason, at his party, you can't get into his party. So now what do you want to do? Get into that man's party and see what the fuck all the hubbub's about.
Yeah. They like, don't worry, we have a Team Love, you know, that's his little slogan, his brand or whatever. Team Love photo booth, if you need to take any pictures, take pictures there. I'm not knowing what's about to transpire. I walk in there.
This is pictures. These are pictures she took at the picture booth, inside Diddy's one of Diddy's parties. You know what I'm saying? These are actual photos.
So happy, and I'm just like kind of
see the photos. That's her right there.
Nervous, but then what's making me even more nervous is the music and the naked people walking around. So I'm like, the music is going fast.
Said there were people walking around with no clothes on inside Diddy's party. You know, she's talking about her time at Diddy's parties and what she's seen.
I'm like feeling like a rush. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't know if it's a bad thing. I just know I'm excited but nervous at the same time. That was my intuition telling me some shit was about to go down, or it was like some crazy shit going on. Long story short, I started to see unusual things. You know, people skinny dipping in the pool, P. Diddy.
People, oh man, here go the details.
Around like a crazy animal. I seen like a lot of, you know, bisexual, this type of people, trans.
Lord.
And I love everyone. You know, I've been in the industry, so like I don't discriminate on nobody. I love a lot of gays. I love anybody who is happy, anybody who is positive. But when it starts to get kind of crazy, I feel like I don't want to attach myself to that type of stuff.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a...
Y'all remember this infamous footage? Got that dude passed out. You know, everybody was saying, well, Diddy allegedly put something in his drink. Look at him. He looks like he's in a coma.
This is what happens to the white man.
It's so unfortunate.
Y'all remember that passed out? That dude passed out, you know, almost in his homeboy's lap at a Diddy's party. This footage went viral.
So you can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look at
that.
Look, what you
Lord.
Drink on his head. And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is an actual DJ that I'm supposed to pass out. But when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to him. I put him to sleep. Next day, right? You put the drink on his head. Yeah. There it is. Damn.
I seen Diddy. He rubbed me on my shoulder. He asked me, how are you liking my house? And he kind of like startled me a little bit. So mind you, this feeling I was feeling, I'm not sure if it was because I'm thinking...
Make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. Most definitely subscribe, y'all. Continue to hit that like button. All you got to do is click those 3 dots, hit the thumbs up, or double tap your screen if you're on a mobile device, y'all. This is her account of what goes on at a Diddy's party.
I'm going to have to maybe sing or get signed, or this is my opportunity. You know, you hear these in the industry. You've been singing for so long, and you hear these stories like when you get your big break, you're going to go through all this bull crap, and then one night it's just going to change your life. So it's like you're going to be a nobody at one moment, and the next moment you just may be a superstar tomorrow. It's like an overnight celebrity type of thing. So that's just what I'm thinking of. But then I get something different from Diddy. When he comes
I didn't hear anything about no animals. I could be wrong, but I don't think she said animals was there. Hey, but they could have been.
And he's rubbing on me, and he's asking about, do I like his house? I'm feeling like a dark energy, like in his eye. And I'm like, why is it giving scared? Like he's trying to, with his power, like, how are you liking my house? Like anything you want, let me know. Like, and then he tells me.
She's saying this is what Diddy told her.
Oh, in the house. So after a while, he's watching me with the prince. Everybody is just watching me. And all of these things, and I'm just feeling like, okay. So then he tells me, like, did you go in my house yet? And I'm like,
say Diddy invited her
so
in.
I was with somebody. And this, I forgot this part because I wasn't trying to drag the story all out. But because I know people want to get to the meat. When I came in with one of the girls, it was other girls that came with us, but the ones that I picked, of course, I picked her from the club. So she's my friend. She was on my shoulder. When I walked through, as soon as I came through with my phone covered up, I'm hearing the music. I seen one of P. Diddy's sons. He goes,
Poochie says, Warlock.
I'm like, who, me, who, her? He's like, you and only you. He gave me some rolled terry cloth white shoes. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with these? He's like, this is how you're going to get in the house. So fast forward, I'm just holding
She said that one of the sons gave her some white shoes and said that was everybody with those type of shoes on were the ones that entered the house. So they were outside. The freak off was going on inside the house.
Shoes. So when PD came up to me, I'm thinking like, he's asking me like, you ever one in the house yet? Like, you got the shoes. And I'm like, oh, these shoes. You know, like, and I'm thinking because when he gave them to me, because my friend didn't have it, I wasn't worried about going in the house.
The story I've heard about some of these fellas they are putting across the screen, Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, they alleged to be freaky deaky just like Diddy.
Basically, when I went in the house, because he was pushing, and he would really like bum me about going in his house.
We be singing, the ladies be nice. Hey yo, everybody, make sure your breath is fresh.
Inside of Diddy's party.
You know what I'm saying? If you smoking weed, either Listerine shrimps, please be respectful. Ladies, if they don't want to dance, don't let that hold you back. Cause this whole thing about bring that Darnell Jones, come on, get it.
I told my friend, I said, wait a minute. Going on in the house, then outside. I thought outside was a crazy mess because of the music and the people. No, they were like, I called it like sardines in the house because everybody was up on each other. I could feel the moist and the sweat. As soon as I got in there, it was like a sweatshop. And it's a lot of things going on in different corners. It's a huddle over here, huddle over there. It's this, you got the people over here. You could just look to your left and you can see something. You look to your right, you can see something else going on. You look forward.
She said they was doing all type of stuff over that house. They were just getting it in everywhere.
Other shit going on. I mean, I had to like watch my step. It's people running around screaming, having fun, I guess. But I'm like, I need to watch myself up in here. So what's going on? Mind you, it's people asking me, you want a drink? Passing you stuff. You have, the waitress is walking around naked, asking you, do you want stuff? And I'm not really a drinker. The last thing I'm gonna do, at that time I was smoking weed. I don't anymore. But that was it. So I was like, because if I'm gonna be acting like this, I don't want to take a sip of nothing up in here. And I just think everybody's, they were like intoxicated, but nothing out of the norm yet. Until I look over and I see some little people, so I'm like,
whoops, she said she looked over and seen little people. At first it was all grown folks. She said she looked over and seen little people. Now people are, up in arms saying, hey man, I heard it was this, I heard it was that, I heard it was little people. None of this made it to the actual federal trial that we've been witnessing.
Out of the norm, yeah. Until I look over and I see some little people. So I'm like, what's going on over there? They look dressed up, I don't know if there's a video shoot going on or what, but I'm just like looking like, okay, little people. And, not midgets. So I'm just thinking like, okay, I know I'm not tripping, I don't know. So I'm just like, whatever.
Do y'all think it was actual little people at Diddy's party? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat.
I feel disgusted at this point because now I'm like, okay, this is some Hollywood shit and this must be some billionaire shit. So,
do y'all think that there were actual little people there?
Not that up there. So let me just head on out because I'm not trying to be in the middle of all of this. I need to figure out what the prince about to do with me because it just seemed weird. And I just walked out because I still have my friend out there waiting on me. So it's like I seen what I needed to see and I just was disgusted. Now,
I see a lot of yeses down there, man. They most definitely believe that there were little people, at Diddy's party. Wow, y'all. Continue to double tap that screen. We 40 away from 300, man. Can we get to 300, y'all? Double tap that screen and click those three dots, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you new. We most definitely on our way to 27K. We need all the subscribers we can get. So subscribe.
Industry, we could see our favorite rapper is doing bisexual things, and we could feel like we still didn't see it. It could be right in front of our face, and we still won't believe it. People could tell us, we could feel it, and we still won't believe it. But what I seen, I'm like, this is some
I see a bunch of yeses. They said, yeah, little people
are some weirdos. I'm not with this, no. So I go outside. P. Diddy is outside on the couch with the prince.
She say she seen the little people decided she wasn't with it. You know what I'm saying? She had to get up out of there.
He's already just jacking off. Well, I don't know what I can say.
Lord have mercy.
Feeling like, okay, she's been in there. She's seen, when people feel...
Now, she most definitely said that he was touching on himself. So could she be credible? She said that she looked off in that room and he was just sitting there, touching himself, and that's a lot of what we heard as far as testimony as well, with him sitting in the corner. How you take her story now. This was before the trial.
You're on their playground, right? They like, so what do you think? Basically, are you with this shit or what? And I'm like, I'm not trying to be like the weirdo. It's kind of like when somebody offers you some at a party, and it's like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that. You try to make it seem like I'm not gonna do that today. You guys are not weird. You guys aren't. But so I'm not trying to offend anybody. But I just was like, so what's going on? And then they're like, oh, are you going to Cuba with us? So it's the girls. The girls that's all on the Prince. The Prince is on the couch. Diddy is on the couch. And I'm like, where did this couch come from? Now I feel like I'm tripping because I'm like, I didn't see this couch before. Now I feel like they trying to run a play on me, like the Truman Show.
Said they was trying to run a play on her. What?
I started to get paranoid because the music, all this shit going on, what I just seen, I'm like, I just wanted to, I literally wanted to cry because I'm like, I'm always in some shit trying to be famous. Damn, I thought I was this close and then this, every single time. I didn't have interviews, but meetings with certain Atlantic Records and Interscope, the Def Jam, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is it, this is the one, and it won't be right. And it'll be some weird shit that'll happen at the last minute. So this is one of the weird things that happened at the last minute. And then when they sprung up Cuba on me, I'm like, I thought I was going home. My 2 weeks is up.
Y'all hear she said they sprung up Cuba on her. You know what I'm saying? But she wasn't with it. Did y'all think they was trying to get this young lady in traffic to Cuba? I'm just saying, she said they mentioned Cuba to her. Oh wow. They tried to get her to Cuba. The Prince and Diddy. Allegedly.
Now Cuba?
What's up,
and
y'all?
They know and I don't know. So too many surprises for me. So I was I ended up dead. So no, I'm not gonna do it. And it was just like, I was like, oh, we're going to Cuba. And then D's like, yeah, are you coming to Cuba with us? You too? So it's just like, okay. After the fact of all this, I've heard some things about Cuba.
Now, like I told y'all, she was on the TMZ documentary about Diddy too, telling this same story. Do y'all believe her? Y'all think she full of cap? Man, we are. Man, continue to double tap that screen. We almost to 300, man. Continue to double tap that screen and subscribe if you new. This is Tania giving her first-hand account of what she witnessed at a Diddy party due to her dating a prince and basically almost being caught in traffic to Cuba.
They don't even stamp your passport, and that people get lost in the sauce out there. We hear these stories about Dubai. What about Cuba? What about the unseen? I'm just a party goer at this point. They probably think I'm a sex worker. They probably think I'm a model. They probably think I'm an opportunist. And yeah, I am an opportunist, but I'm not going to do something that I may regret later or that you guys are going to hold over my head. All the stories that we do here. And I think that it is true because I even seen someone, because before I went there, I was signed to a rapper. I ended up seeing someone there that was friends with the rapper, and he was dressed totally different there. And when he seen me, he was rubbing on me too, and he was like, hey, you. I don't think that he would have did that back in California with the rappers. He doesn't say shit to me when we were in California, but in Miami at the house, he was comfortable and touching and feeling on me too. When I got back home,
I think on one of her interviews, she even told the name of the rapper, but I done forgot. We 25 likes away from 300, man. Double tap that screen, get the likes up.
Forward, just on this note, when I got back home, I went to try to go hit him up, the rapper that I seen there, and I was blocked because I went on my other page, like my little Friendster, and I was like, why is his name coming up here? I said, why would you block me? That's fishy, because I didn't do nothing to you. So is it because I left, or you didn't want me to know, or nobody to know that you were there? It was just a trip, you know what I'm saying? This guy,
let me tell you why, dog. It's 500 plus channels covering this Diddy situation because it is the hottest thing on the internet. It's just as big as the OJ trial. If there would have been internet like it is now with people on it, you know, they most definitely would have been doing the same thing in the OJ trial, man. It's a big trial. That's why everybody is covering it.
He really is vouching for Diddy. Like, you know how certain people are like, no, he wouldn't do that. This one in particular is like, no, he...
Roxanne say she believe him.
Because you was partying with him, and you probably got some things. That's just what I think. Because, come on, like, that was just weird. And at that time, before I put two and two together, I was like, maybe them little ones is there with somebody, but why? Like, look at what time.
She's speaking on the little people, aka minors.
In the morning, under, around liquor, around, drip. Like, come on. No, and I'm tired of stuff being so covered up, but I had prayed before all of this. I'm a believer in God, and I was like, God, listen, don't you be using me. Don't use me like that, please, I had to be the one to not be intoxicated. Because I don't know. Basically, yeah, like, if I would have just took a drink, I feel like, or if I wouldn't have been on my P's and Q's.
What's up, Mr. Page? What's up, Cass?
Would have just went along with
y'all make sure y'all double tap that screen, man. Get the likes up. Click those 3 dots, subscribe to the channel, man.
Then I started to talk to her, like, before we went to Diddy's house. So, we were, like, well acquainted. And she was telling me, I was like, so what are you doing out here? Because I started asking the girls questions in the house. And then she was like, my sister is in competition with me. I just want to change my life. I just want, like, a new life. And she was like, and I think being the prince's assistant would be good for me. He told me that. And when she said this, I'm just thinking that that's what he told her because she was the assistant. Remember, I'm the artist. So she said that the prince said that he was going to stamp her whole passport.
Wow, they trying to get her to Cuba, guys.
Book. So knowing that information and that's what he told her. And then they just now told me Cuba. Who knows what their plans was and what was going to happen. And so we did exchange Instagram like a week in the house, right? But when I got back home, I was trying to hit her up. Her Instagram was deactivated. So the rapper guy blocked me and her Instagram was deactivated. And then also, it was a realtor that I had met. Because when we stayed in the $30 million house, that was an Airbnb. So it was a realtor from New York, right? And he was after young boy, so he was black. So he was asking me, like, how you get up in here? Because, I was one of the only black girls. So he was, like, asking questions, like, how you come up on this prince? Do he really got money like that? Because he's doing business with him. But
it's just crazy. It seems incredible that she would just bump into a prince, y'all. But according to her, she actually did. And like I said, man, they had her all on TMZ telling her story. She got pictures and videos to back up. And then the key point that hit me was that she said that Diddy, she looked in the room and Diddy was over there touching himself, basically touching himself. And that was something that we found out in trial, that's exactly what he would do at the parties. And this was before they even picked him up for trial.
He trying to be nosy. What ended up happening,
picked him before they picked him up.
He started hitting me up like, hey, are you still in him? I said, I left. I had to leave. I said, shit started getting weird.
Yeah, Poochie said she met the prince in Dubai.
Yeah, I thought it was weird too. He like, man, he said, and you still owe me money. Like, they were just fraud all the way around. Like, everything was just a scam. He started to scare me a little bit when I said that I wanted to leave. He started talking in his language, and then he was just like, "I'm trying to change your life."
Yeah, Tania, she was she was most definitely in a relationship with Crip Mac. You right, dog, you right.
You said you wanted.
She is an industry person. She started out trying to be a singer, guys, you know, and fell to the wayside, I guess. Her music wasn't cutting it.
This and that. I want you to be the head bitch in charge of this house, and you're sabotaging yourself in the house. He wanted me to fall in line so bad, so that by the time we got with Diddy, everything would just be like, yes, because, and ain't no telling what they was gonna try to have me do. And I have kids myself, so it was just like, you never know. I'm like, bitch, where's your kids? You're like, I don't know. So that was just, a very freaky story.
Somebody said Diddy would get free.
Him in her face, and it was great because after that they had broke up. And I always was like, I wonder if it was because of me. I would just joke because I remember when he came up to me, he was rubbing on me. How you like my house? She came and rubbed on his shoulder. And
said when he was rubbing on her, basically on her, saying how you like my house. That his assistant came and rubbed on him, Lord. Or Cassie. Hold on, she used to say? Oh, she said Cassie. She also got a Cassie story. She says that basically Diddy was rubbing on her. Cassie came up, seen him doing what he was doing, and pushed him away and asked him basically, what are you doing?
Like, I wonder if it was because of me. I would just joke because I remember when he came up to me, he was rubbing on me. How you like my house? She came and rubbed on his shoulder, and he pushed her. And so
wow. Okay, so she said Cassie came and rubbed on his shoulder, and he pushed Cassie out the way because he was too entertained with her. This is Tania, guys. You know what I'm saying? We're 19 likes away from 300, man. Y'all click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We on the road to 27K. We most definitely need all the subscribers we can get. So subscribe, guys. We most definitely got everything when it comes to Diddy. You don't believe me? Subscribe to the channel and go look at all of my videos.
See the footage of him beating her up. I was like, so he really was abusive. Like, I thought he just pushed her real hard. Like, get out of my business. Like, you're being thirsty. I'm trying to handle business with this artist, and you're being an obsessive girlfriend or something. But no, to know that he had been abusing her was really, 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 I couldn't believe it because she was too nice. I was like, dang, everything is true. And then
that's crazy, y'all. She says at first she couldn't believe that Diddy was abusing Cassie. You know, she wasn't going with the reports because he was way too nice. But under that nice guy exterior, we come to find out that he most definitely was putting his hands on Cassie.
You know, I always thought about it for years. That was a weird situation. It's always me, right? Like, it's always me. But to know
what's up, T?
Me and it was other people, and that I was right and my intuition was right. You know how good I felt about myself to know that I can trust my intuition and that I was actually right. It wasn't just me, and I wasn't crazy. So that's why when I prayed for God, I told my story. And not to mention, I told my story only because, not because of Cassie. No, that too. Because now
why they didn't have her in the courtroom if she's such a credible witness, y'all? Why she wasn't in the trial, man? You know what I'm saying? Could she potentially be entering it? You know, because she was believable enough to be on TMZ.
Comfortable, like, I'm not the only one. And, wonder why it be coming good for me. But I did an interview in 2022 with Soft My Underbelly, and we were just talking about crazy things that has happened in my life and what I've learned.
Now you hear she said that she did an interview in 2022 where she talked about this same stuff, y'all. So she could be credible. This was before the trial, before the arrest. She been saying this since 2022.
And I brought up a crazy situation with me almost being sex trafficked. Remember, this was
Lord, there she goes. She talking about the traffic. That was before all of this.
When I said
before Tony Busby, before all of that.
Like, yeah, we went to Miami and we was going to celebrity's house and we ended up at Diddy's house. And people were already in the comments like, it's always Diddy. Did she say Diddy? So then the next year, 2023 came, and next thing you know, they was like, she said it was sex trafficking. She said da-da-da-da. And then I told the in detail story, like, oh man, and that was the truth. And that's why I have to pray like, God, I'm about to, facing things, protect me, but just protect us all. And, protect who needs to be protected. Like, straight up, because these people are like some predators. And yeah, you know, unfortunately, people do want to change their life and they will do anything and stuff. But not everybody.
Talking about, like, the prince.
That's crazy, ain't it, y'all? That is insane, man. Hold up. You know what I'm saying? He basically asked her some questions, then she comes back with a
A
response.
few actors, a few rappers, a lot
She's
of
talking about the
random
prince.
people. I knew that they were somebody, I just didn't know who they were. And you had people in like
Can we get 14 more likes, man? Click those three dots, hit that thumbs up for your boy, man. Subscribe to the channel if you new, man. We are 14 likes from 300, man. You know what I'm saying? Double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device, or click those three dots, hit that thumbs up, and then you can most definitely hit that subscribe button, man. But she's most definitely been saying this same story since 2022. And just like I asked y'all a while ago, if she's credible enough to go on TMZ, you know, on a documentary about Diddy and tell her story, why come we ain't heard of nothing about her in this federal case? Because she says they tried to get her in traffic, you know, and that will work towards their in traffic case that they got going on, man. Just a question. I'm just curious.
regular clothes, no clothes, you know, like elite.
Did you get any, like, idea of who the random people?
Just the opportunity, you know, just to be around. They just seemed very willing and very thirsty. Everybody seemed willing. Like I felt out
She
of.
said everybody seemed like they were willing to be there. That means nobody was forced. That's probably why they didn't use her in the trial.
Pocket, because I wasn't so intrigued with Diddy and just, you know, and that's why I was like, am I missing something? What's going on? You know, because you guys got to be off drugs because this is crazy. It's not nothing spectacular here, but everybody was just like zombies.
That's so bizarre.
And it's really true. Like,
she said everybody was like zombies at the party, guys. 8 more likes. Double tap that screen or click those three dots, hit that thumbs up.
This shit is just too much of a secret society. Like, I just wish that even when it's like cameras around, like, damn, do y'all have the right cameras on? Like, I damn. And this is why they tell you can't have your phone out. Exactly why.
Right. And then,
so she confirms that he used to take their cell phones away. Look at Post Malone and Diddy right there, man. I can just imagine, you know, some of the people that he probably got on tape doing outrageous stuff at these parties, man. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. There go him and dang, I just said his name. I forgot his name that fast. Lord have mercy. Wow.
I mean, it's kind of the same question in a way, but
we had our own mansion, but I ended up leaving P. Diddy's house and going back to our mansion, and he stayed there, and I had to call
Post Malone, that's his name.
Police at the mansion, at our mansion. When I called 911, I said I've been kidnapped by some Saudi Arabians and get me out.
So when she was being caught in traffic, she called the police at a Diddy party and basically told them that they was trying to get her in traffic to Cuba.
This property. So when all this was going on, he still was at P. Diddy's house, and this is how I was able to escape. So, you know, I don't know if he ended up staying there, but it looked like he was about to stay there. You get what I'm saying? It looked like he probably was like, go in there and have your own room, and whoever he came with, whatever. I mean, this prince was already so secretive. I remember one of the days, I wonder why a nurse had came. He was off so much heroin or whatever he was doing.
Lord have mercy, man. You know, this is for educational purposes only. Everything within the video is alleged, and we most definitely exercise the Copyright Act of 1976, man. This is Tania talking about her experience with Diddy. Man, we are 5 likes away from 300, man. Y'all double tap that screen or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel if you new, man.
And I say heroin because I started putting 2 and 2 together, like needles and all this stuff. You know, like what is that? And I knew they were doing coke because he had like a chain and he would randomly do it.
Whoop, that's what Meek said. Meek said he got Coca-Cola vibes from the party, and she said that they was most definitely drinking Coca-Cola.
He even offered me something. I said, no, he's single, baby. He was like, good girl, Nia. He called me Nia. I was like, this fool is really trying me, you know? One of the Marleys was there. Just different little people were doing it.
One of the Marlins was there. Oh, Lord.
If that's when he told me, oh, you remind me of Lauren. I was like, Lauren, who is? You know, they were just doing a lot of gaslighting. You know, he was having me sing the lies to these people. But I was saying this to say, oh, a nurse had came. And I was like, why did a nurse come, like, with an IV? Because he would be so...
Whoop, did y'all hear that? She said that a nurse came to administer the IVs. She's been saying the same thing since 2022. Now this case came, all this evidence came out, and we found out that there were most definitely IV drips going on after these freak-offs. Man, once again, she's sounding pretty credible due to her being on TMZ, and she's been speaking out about these things way before the trial even started, way before they picked up Diddy. She's been saying this since 2022.
Out and drugged out, he would have to resuscitate himself. It's just like you almost die every single day. He like, you know, you get super drunk, you're taking these drugs, and
that's insane. That's so crazy.
Yes.
You're like, what y'all doing? Because I started being friends with the assistant. I'm just saying that because that's what he told her she was, you know. And that's when I was able to see, like, what's going on? What's wrong with you, girl? She like, I'm so high. I'm like, so you know, the Diddy house was right up his alley, you know.
Like you kind of mentioned, like approached you. Was there like just off?
Like if somebody is like pushing you to do something, and you like turning it up, like why are y'all so thirsty? That's what I call it. It was if there was a color, it would be black and green because it would be something that was icky, cringy, then dark because it's not right, and then if I can explain the feeling, it's just a lot of people touching you and pushing you. Do it. You know, that's what type of energy.
And that's why she said people were willing participants.
You know, energy is really real. Like, I'm a Scorpio, I'm spiritual. I can feel a whole lot of stuff. And it's just like, I already manifested myself out there. Let's not mention that. I was writing at a park, and my best friend said, do air therapy. And I'm writing my things that I want.
She said she manifested meeting Diddy. She manifested the Prince. You know what I'm saying? This is a crazy story, but it's crazy. It makes it even crazier that she's been speaking out about what she saw at the hands of Diddy since 2022. So I don't know it. She said she manifested this Prince. I ain't lying.
In life, and I said I want royalty. I want people to treat me a certain type of way, like a queen, and I want the flamboyant lifestyle. I put Miami, royalty. Out of all the things that I wrote, everything came, and I can't believe it. On down to P. Diddy.
We three likes away from 300, man. Double tap that screen, y'all, or click those three dots, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you new, man. We almost at 300 on the like. You know what I'm saying? Can we get there? Double tap that screen, click those three dots, hit that thumbs up. This is everything news, man. We covering this Diddy situation. Make sure you subscribe, man.
Down to Miami, on down to royalty Prince. So, you know, when I say that I could feel energy and I can speak things into existence, that's what I'm talking about, because I literally wrote up my life and spoke my life into existence. When I wrote it down on the paper, I burnt it and it went back into the universe, and that shit came back in the next few days in the most weirdest way, through the most randomest thing. Some old average Joe clicked up me and the Prince in Glendale, California. So it's like, what is the odds of this? And I just was talking about this, and now I'm already here. And now I'm about to go to Cuba now.
Thank you, Bliss.
I don't even want to see what's going to happen next. I don't even remember what I put on that paper. Now I got to think about what I put on that goddamn paper. So the energy was real. When I got out of there, the police made me so mad because they walked in 10 seconds later, they walked out and they said, "We seen what you tried to do. You tried to get us in a frenzy." That hurt my feelings because it's like they don't take me seriously. And because this was a prince, they took his side. They was like, "So where is he at?" I'm like, "He's at P. Diddy's house." Yeah, so the police, when I said, like, even how I got out, the maid came, somebody else came, handed me $100 because the police was like, "Okay, you could just get off the property." I was like, "No, wait, I don't even have any money." Because everything happened so fast when I met the prince. It's like I came with nothing, I left with nothing. Because remember I told you he never gave me no actual money. He was just buying things. So it wasn't like I was going to be like, "Oh, wait, let me go upstairs and go get my stuff." I'm fighting for my life at this point. I'm trying to leave before he comes back because I don't want him to take me to Cuba. So it's like now I'm running now. Now I'm running for my life. And it's just like...
That's crazy. She said she running for her life.
Oh my God.
Because she was almost caught in traffic, to Cuba.
That's when I used to, like, it's really real because I'm almost about to cry. Because I just was like, I just feel like I wasn't going to, something was going to happen. I felt I didn't feel safe when I was there. I was highly disappointed that instead of this guy P. Diddy being, and mind you, I didn't cry on these platforms because I wasn't trying to be like my other interviews and with TMZ, and they were like, "We really believe you. You are very authentic. It's just your story flows so
She just
good.
brought up the TMZ interview.
Is bullcrap." Only because they said my story matched a lot of people who didn't want their story to be told because it was so real. So everybody...
They said her story matched up. And I most definitely can say the same, y'all, with some of the things I've heard her say. And then since this trial has started and the things we heard, her story most definitely matches up, man. It's crazy.
They've interviewed other people, but it didn't get a chance to get out because they were like, never mind. Because I think that people don't want to get asked the question, "Are you sure you didn't do nothing?" Or when you did see these things, what did you do? There's nothing that you can do because you see what I call the police that they were like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, who's gonna believe you? Who's gonna fucking believe you that that's going on? And then it's like, damn. Then when you get drugged and you're intoxicated or whatever, you probably won't remember, and then you probably won't want to tell that story because you done been drugged. So you got to say that part. So for a person who didn't do any of that and they got out, I could tell you it was very weird and it was not right and it wasn't worth it. And so I was like, I gotta go. And when I left, the prince, Phil, was trying to be my friend because he knew, like, this girl knows too much. So he had my Snapchat and he hit me up on Snapchat because Snapchat, when you say something, it disappears. No trace, no case. So he's like, "We still love you. If you ever want to come to Miami or you ever want to do anything, let me know. I'll send for you." What? Like nothing ever just happened. Just a creep.
Yeah, that's you were the people any.
I didn't go all around the house because where I stopped at, I could have kept going, but it was like downstairs, and that was ritualistic enough to me because what I seen, just, seeing people that wasn't supposed to be there and just people's behaviors, I felt it. I already knew that, like, being in a weird situation with a prince where you can't put your finger on what's really going on, and now they're saying you're going somewhere else and they won't let you go home. Basically, you're being kidnapped. That's already weird enough. So for that to go on for 2 weeks and then this, and then just, to just see, like, I feel like if I snapped my fingers in anybody's face, they weren't going to be all the way there. So I just felt like, hello?
Saying most definitely the people were intoxicated. Like if she snapped her finger in front of their face, they wouldn't even respond, man. That's crazy.
Is anybody home? Is anybody, like, I don't like that. And then even when I was telling so back then, when that happened, I guess, or I don't know why my best friend said this, but they were like, "You sound like, have you seen a movie called Taken?" And then now people are saying, "Look at the movie Blink Twice." it's just like it always comes back to these movies, and we already know they be saying stuff in movies that becoming true. So it's like, yeah, because that happened to somebody. Where did they get that idea from? Somebody that they knew it happened to. And I'm the type, as soon as I got back, I told everybody what was going on. Only my selected friends. And they were like, that's wild, that's crazy. And then when it came out, everybody all in my comments on Instagram, I remember you told me this story. I remember. I was like, see, I told you. So, I just feel like if I would have stayed with them, I would have seen a lot more. I know for a fact. I would have seen a lot more. I didn't want to see a lot more because when you see things, you can't unsee it. And I started to feel guilty. Like, I know that I'm a good person too, so I'll be trying to like save people. Like, how I'm going to save you?
Yeah, right. There's no.
That's crazy.
Even like, no, for real, no, what was there? Because it was like, people be like, no, for real. And then, you go into detail and you start to feel bad. Like, but it is what it is. I'm glad that the truth is, slowly but surely, maybe people won't get it now, they'll get it in 5 years, and it'll really, dawn on them. But after that happened, I was like really messed up about it. And then I started to do research on a lot of things. And I started finding out a lot about stuff and dark webs, and I started seeing a lot of things. I'm like, oh my God, see, this is really, and I'm already a believer. Because I know what I've seen and I know what I know. But everybody...
She say she already know what she seen and she know what she know, y'all. It's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? My battery is about to die, so I got to jump up off of here, man. But we'll finish tomorrow, man. Make sure y'all pull up on me. 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll pick up where we left off, man. We most definitely went through the prosecution. We most opening statements. We went through the defense opening statements. We'll be back tomorrow with the rest of this video, and as well as Cassie's testimony from inside the courtroom, man. We'll be able to hear everything Cassie had to say from inside the courtroom, based on the transcripts, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Shout out to everybody that double tapped their screen and got the likes up. If you subscribe and YouTube don't send you your notification, just know that I'll be here 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know what time that is for some of y'all out there, but in Central, I'll be here at 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Pull up on me. We got Cassie's testimony coming tomorrow, man. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody in the building. Most definitely appreciate anybody that's on the super chat, a gift. You know what I'm saying? Cash App, that most definitely appreciate it. So until I see y'all again, man, y'all stay safe out there. Y'all know how this go. Sidewalk Gang. Checking out. I'm gone, man. I catch y'all tomorrow at 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Even if YouTube don't send you your notification, pull up.